everybody. Welcome back to Core, the only podcast able to take down Mr. X in 3 pistol shots. Believe me, it's true. It's true.
That seems like something that only someone who's played the full Resident Evil 2 remake would know.
That's true.
Curious how you are aware of these facts.
I think because you unlock like mega pistol something if you do the whole thing, right? And so you can go back through and just waste everything.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I don't know if I want to know. I don't want to know that bad. I can go look it up on YouTube, but everything will be fine. I'll watch it there. Anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Let's get this out of the way early, this right here.
This last episode, you guys were talking about Nickelback, and I don't know why this popped into my head, but years and years ago on Extra Life Radio, there was this, Scott, you were talking about the same thing about Nickelback, and there was this clip that you played, and it was like 6 or 7 Nickelback songs that were all layered on top of each other, and it sounded like the exact same song. But yeah, when you guys were talking about that popped up into my head randomly. Love the show. Thanks.
Yeah, there's this thing where you can take multiple Nickelbacks, famous Canadian band Nickelback, which John and I talked about.
That, guys.
Yeah, no problem. You're the Chad Kroger.
As a Canadian, I'm saying we're sorry.
Chad Kroger source up there, but if you layer them, they all kind of sound the same. They use the same bass
But we were
lines.
kind of Nickelback last week.
Yeah, you and I admitted we have songs we like.
We like some Nickelback songs, which should, by this logic, mean we like all Nickelback songs. But that's just not true, because while they may all layer on top of each other, I only like 1 or 2 layers.
Yep.
Like a bad multi-layer bean dip.
Ooh, I've had bad multi-layer bean dip, and I like that's a good metaphor, because you can have a good bean dip is all 7 layers are amazing. Good job, whoever did it. But a bad one, you could have 3 layers that are incredible, and then 2 shit layers, and then another good layer. It's not a happy place to be, that combination. So
wait, isn't Nickelback? No.
What? They're Canadian, aren't they? I think they are.
Well, I thought they were just all shit, but it's okay.
Oh, well, I know
there's a lot of people who think so. I like, it's musical taste. Like, I'm sure there's people that.
All right, no hating. I'm not starting off the show being a hater, but damn, you're making it hard.
Well, raid leader Tanner.
Like, there are a lot of people that would agree with you on that hate.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason we said it was a hot take to like a couple
I
other
found
songs.
a photograph. I don't know. I think I've forgotten the song.
That is exactly not how it goes, but I like it.
Yep, I found a photograph.
I found a photograph. Here's a picture of me. No, it's look at this photograph. Sometimes it makes me laugh. See, I shouldn't even know that, but I know it.
I don't even think that's
if you like
it,
whatever. If you like music, if you like it's great.
Or somehow
love and celebrate music.
Somehow makes me laugh. Sometimes makes me laugh. Something like that. I like when it's a graph. That's where that's the meme.
Look at this graph.
It's good stuff.
I made a pivot table in Excel.
That's right. That's Chad Kroger for you. Kroger.com. Just kidding. That'll take you to the food place. All right.
Will it?
It probably, I would assume so. Kroger with a K.com should take you to the Grocery King. Kroger.
Test it.
If it's Chad Kroger.
Somebody's. It's just a website of him going, look at this photograph.
Let's see. Right now it's just hanging. Oh, there it is. It is exactly what I thought. It's the Kroger grocery people. There you go.
Look but you spelled Kroger has an E in it, and that Kroger does not have an E in it, does it?
It has a G-E-R. Is there another E? Like Kroeger?
It's Kroeger.
Oh, there's an extra E. Okay, let's put an E in there.
That's not the right Kroger.com to go to.
All right, we're going to the one with his name in it. Let's see what we get. Maybe a fan site. I don't know. Oh, no, it just resolves to nothing. It's just someone squatting this shit. So.
Man, he didn't even get his own lastname.com. What's he doing?
It's a bummer. Chad Kroger should have the power.
All right. Well, now 2 Russians are going to show up and throw us off a parking lot. I think that's how that works.
Yep. It'll all become .ru from now on.
That's a Fargo reference in case.
I like that. No, it was really good. Are you kidding? I never forget Fargo.
Okay.
Ever. Yeah. Now this. Let's talk about tariffs. Now, we're not going to get political. Okay? I know it's tempting.
And immediately, 90% of the audience checked out.
Yeah, don't check out.
Everybody, it's time to talk about tariffs.
That's right. Yeah.
No, politics is the meta. Like 50% more people have checked in to get mad.
Maybe.
They love listen, if we've learned nothing about how algorithms work, people love engagement.
They do love engagement.
They love getting angry. They come back.
But that's not the goal here. The goal today is to talk about it in specific relation to if they get undelayed. Right now, there's I personally think in a couple of days the whole thing disintegrates because it's causing way too much pain. However, let's say they stick. What do tariffs mean for gaming? What do they mean for physical media? Probably the death of said physical media. That's at least the theory going around, one that I kind of share. If this stays, and specifically physical media that is manufactured mostly in Mexico, to be honest, a lot of that happens down there, but also China, stuff coming out of China, they're also being tariffed. I do think that this could lead to a faster death of physical media, because I already think physical media is on its deathbed, like sucking oxygen through its nose, and it has been for a while. I can tell you the last disc I bought. Now, I know I'm not everybody, and I know that we don't necessarily represent every gamer, and there are people out there, my buddy Brian Dunaway, who loves his physical media. He'll go to a Cracker Barrel just because he heard The Matrix on DVD is in the bottom of that disc thing. Like, he's a freak about this stuff. VHS tapes, half our film sacks he buys on VHS and watches on a CRT because he just loves the experience.
Because he's in the right. Because somebody can't, somebody's like, oh, this is coming off Netflix. That's never going to happen to him.
Yeah. So he
is Netflix.
He is he's
his own Netflix.
He literally worked at a Blockbuster.
Let me tell you, somebody who wants to watch the movie Spice World, can't be done.
Can't be done right now. Well,
not unless you went and got it at a Cracker Barrel. Apparently,
one of my Plex people has it, and I haven't watched it, but maybe John just needs a key in there to get that going.
Yeah, it can't be done legally.
Legally, there's the word we're looking for. But anyway, you're going to see a lot of illegal things with tariffs. But the tariffs themselves, the argument, GameSpot made this argument. 25% of imports on Canada and Mexico. Although it was just announced today that Mexico's they get a reprieve till April. It's all weird. I don't think they get it. I think at the end the stuff all falls apart, like I said before. But anyway, there's also an additional 10% on Chinese goods. So the theory is it could make publishers rather shift from physical media to digital game sales. I'd argue they already are, and speed up the inevitable. Assuming they don't pull back, which might happen as soon as this week, according to some sources. And in fact, today we had a form of that with Mexico. Bottom line is, I think the part of this conversation I wanted to kind of hit on is, if it does have that effect, do we think that none of this affects digital sales? But do you think that these guys will pull a fast one? And by these guys, I mean like retailers and publishers will pull a fast one and go, well, I got to charge an extra $10 for those digital downloads because these tariffs.
They may, even if it technically doesn't affect them, they may raise it anyways with little to lose. And then also, if they just get used to it being that price, just because the tariffs go away, doesn't mean companies are not quick to bring prices back to where they were once. Insert excuse here has driven it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it might. I don't know. It's possible.
I hope not. I'd be great if they didn't.
But I think, like you said, physical sales are already kind of like, isn't GameStop finally shutting down a bunch of stuff? Or there's something I read recently that they're in trouble.
Yeah, they're pivoting again.
I think they're divesting some of their like EB Canada and some other European country. I wish I had the articles a few weeks ago, but they're, it's already circling the drain, I guess, right now as like a thing, like you said. So, yeah, it's just going to further. It depends how long it lasts. Again, not getting political, but I just do know in the Canadian climate, we're playing chicken, or at least our government is, so if there's a increase in tariffs on our end, they're going to do their end, and we're going to increase on our end, and we're going to increase on our end. So who knows where this goes? It's not like we can point to anything in history to predict what this does, but I have a feeling it's going to escalate further before it stops, at least in terms of Canada. I don't know.
It is a chicken game of chicken right now.
Yeah.
And I personally think that at the rate our stock market is crashing, that it may be us who blinks. We'll see. But I hope so, because this does nobody any good for anything. That's as far as I'm willing to talk about it from a political standpoint. But from a consumer, like, what do I want out of this standpoint? I'm actually more worried about hardware. So you can, digital sales stay where they're at in theory. Physical sales, people just start phasing it out because they don't want to pay those tariffs. And once that happens, well, we just stick with mostly digital. That's how the market's gone anyway. But I'm more worried that my Switch 2, for example, will be overly priced. And you could say, well, Scott, those are Japanese. We don't have tariffs with the Japanese. I understand that, but this isn't Japanese manufactured. These are made in China. And it's where it's made that the tariffs happen, is my understanding. So it could affect stuff like that. And
I think a lot of the chips get made in Taiwan, like TM. I was watching something with TMSC or TM. What's the company? Like, there's a chip foundry,
right?
That's huge in Taiwan, even.
Yeah.
Like,
so we have one here.
Yeah, you guys have a foundry in China or in Arizona. That's true. But there's a lot
I've
of
seen it. It's huge. It's crazy. It's the craziest building I've ever seen in my life.
TSMC. That's it. You're right.
TSMC. So close. I think that's the point I'm just trying to make, I guess, here is like, because a lot of these things are not manufactured just in one place. Like, because trade has been free flowing, certain places have specialized in certain things. You might say that's a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know. But like, in the current state of things, like, you're not doing A to Z on a product assembly in one country.
Yeah.
So, who knows how many goes at tariffs the pieces actually hit before they reach the end product. I know for US and Canada in the automobile industry, they're sending parts back and forth across the border constantly before the car is finished. So it's not like it's went over the border once, 25%. It's like, might be making 8 trips. So
right.
I don't know what that looks like for the chips industry, but I imagine it's not as simple as it's all assembled here and then goes to sales location. Like, even just to distribute. Like, if I'm buying a console and it's assembled in Taiwan, China, and Japan, it might get shipped to the US first and then to Canada. What does that mean? Like, how many times extra is everything going to be costed out?
Yeah, because none of it is just simply make it here, move it there. There's no A to B to C. It's all over the alphabet of, we get these parts from there, we get these parts from here, we assemble in Mexico. Right. John made the chips in Arizona. He didn't, but you know what I mean? That's the foundry.
Yeah, it was me. It's a massive building, but I'm the only one who goes there.
Yeah. So you got this mix of Asian parts, parts made in America, parts made in South America, things from Canada, and sometimes in the exact same single final product, like a car. This happens all the time. So I don't know why they think it's that simple. That's why I think they end up pulling back from it, because there's no simple solution to this. In terms of, so Mexico got a reprieve till April. The administration says out of respect for the president of Mexico, which I guess they don't have that for Governor Trudeau. See, here I go. I'm going down the path. I'm not trying to, you guys. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to stay away from it.
We're not going down the path. But usually the reason you're going to put tariffs or sanctions is it's an aggressive action, and we have enjoyed a lot of free flowing trade, and so oftentimes there's a reason, or consent is manufactured or whatever. There's just kind of no reason for any of it. And I know Canada has, we've done a lot to help. Trudeau was out talking about increasing funding to secure borders, and called and said, hey man, we did a lot of stuff. Are we good? Here's some numbers. And he's like, he's just not feeling it. So we're really just having to endure this for as long as it remains to be a thing. It's not really based on any facts. It's mostly based on feelings. It's very, very woke, actually. Of Mr. Trump, very, very much a feelings thing. But sorry, we said not get political. I
We're working so hard not to. We're trying. I tried.
Caring about woke is woke. Okay, guys. That's.
We're going down that path.
Yeah. But
write it down. That's a good slogan. But then, okay. Anyway, so what were you saying?
It's so that's what we're dealing with. And I think the point I'm trying to make, sorry, I keep getting caught. It's like my shirt is caught on the side of a door and I can't keep walking. I'm just tearing the shirt open. The point I'm trying to make is this might actually make a fun resurgence in interest in physical media in terms of the secondary market. So we've lamented a lot on this show that we have bigger libraries than we know what to play. Honestly, if there's going to be a trade war and there's nothing new to buy, there's still plenty of video game to explore. We have Ambernix. We have, we can go to flea markets and find like consoles and find cool shit. Steam still has a library, probably the greater percentage of stuff I've never tried or played that would be interesting to do. So at least in the short term, like if it's going to be like the next 4 years, this tariff business is going to be a factor in our lives. I still think, at least for me, I'll probably be fine. I don't know what purchasing a computer now would be like. Probably more expensive, but you can also get away with 1080 gaming. Like, no one needs a 5000 series card. Talk about the most useless generation of graphics cards. You're probably still good with a 3000 series or even 2000 series for a lot of games.
Yeah.
So, if there's a bunch of secondhand NVIDIA cards in those tiers kicking around, you just assemble something that's a few years old and you're probably we'll be fine, right? Mm-hmm. We're so addicted to what's new that we actually have an abundance of stuff already out to play and explore that will, if it hurts the pocketbook too much, that there's lots of options, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's like we're going to be fine for a while.
Yeah. I've got a Steam library so full of stuff that and now with the new family sharing thing, which is really good, by the way, because everybody on your Steam family, the new Steam family, can run any game in your library anytime, even if you're playing on Steam. You can't play the same game at the same time, but they can get into my account, play any one of my 2,600 games, and I can be on there playing any one of my 2,600 games, and nobody's the wiser. It used to be you couldn't even be on Steam while they were on Steam playing your stuff. So all of that stuff combined, just from a Steam perspective, I totally agree. How this affects consoles, physical disc sales, the actual consoles themselves, either with refreshed SKUs on the shelf or brand new items like the Switch 2, like we don't know yet. But we'll see what happens. John, thoughts from John
on tariffs?
Yeah, you got anything? You got any hot tariff takes? Big tariff take waiting to just throw out of you there?
The way you said that, really, what, on tariffs?
Tariffs? Shit,
tariffs? No, I don't. You guys said it.
All right. I mean,
they suck, and hopefully they don't last long. But they might last long, and if they do, I think we have options. Like, we'll have no shortage of content in games.
Yeah, from a games perspective, sucks, but we have a path. We're okay. Everyone will be all right. All right.
Yeah.
But from the broader perspective, yeah, it sucks, and you should activate in your community and do what you can.
I mean, I think as a sort of side subject to this, I wonder, it shouldn't affect developers, but I wonder if it still will. So we already have a lot of like bad news like on that front, just way things being what they are. But a lot of those decisions get made on the temperature of like how shareholders are feeling in the short term.
Yeah.
So are they going to feel even like all this downturn's affecting them too? So
I would say absolutely, because this goes into a whole extra can of beans, but let's go ahead and open those beans and see how they taste. The big problem with like AAA development right now, in a way, is that you've got it's so expensive, and I said this on our Discord not long ago. I can make a game cheap, free, whatever I decide to put into it, sell it to one person, and that game is profitable, right?
Yeah.
Any game can be profitable regardless of how much it sells, as long as it makes money. But AAA is so expensive that they don't have the luxury in AAA to make games for a small audience or for some people. Every AAA game has to be for everybody, has to be an extremely broad audience if you want a AAA game to be profitable these days. And to tie it into what we're talking about, any drop in consumer base is going to hurt that, whether it's a big one or a small one. So and I did see some people in chat argue it. It's undeniable that physical media is going away. Like, don't get in the comments, don't email us. It's true. Even if you still buy physical media all the time, they sell consoles without disk drives.
Yeah,
They
even if you
wouldn't
don't
do that if it wasn't getting more common to not buy physical.
even if you don't want it to.
Yeah.
You can not want it to. I promise you that's a valid feeling to not want it to. But guess what? It is. It just is.
It is. And like that's why GameStop's going out of business. That's why retailers of physical video game media are all on the downswing, because that's just the trend. Again, you can like it, you can hate it, you can however you want to feel about it. It's just the truth. So if you then make it that much harder to buy physical media for the people that are like, well, that's the only way I'm going to get it, or that's the only way I can get it, because maybe they're in a community where the internet connection isn't great, so they want to do the physical copies. Anytime that audience goes down, that's more and more people that can't buy into your AAA game that has to sell insane amounts to be profitable.
Yeah.
So it all connects, and it all like a little pull can have a big impact for these big titles.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's knock-on effects in the entire economy. Games are not immune from that. Right. I agree with you 100%. And so, yeah, if things get like full recession level because people are that pig-headed about it or whatever, then that will affect everything, not just games. And that will affect AAA. It'll affect all the way down to, people trying to make ends meet, having a job and trying to make an indie on the side because their main job may not even be that safe. Like there's all those issues too. But what I hope is it's quick and doesn't last very long. And then while it lasts, there isn't a bunch of gougy bullshit on the digital side. And it's easy for me to say. I've already fully embraced the digital side. I fully embrace what I actually own or don't. I'm there, and I know not everybody has. I don't want to diminish the feeling of that anxiety for them because I know it's real. But it just is where we are. So, Beau, I don't know if you want me to tell you this. It might piss you off, but I found an answer to your GameStop thing. Would you like to know what happened in the news with GameStop? Can I tell you briefly?
Yes, please. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious how it's going to make me upset because I don't go there. I don't shop there. But
they are being encouraged, and the CEO, Ryan Cohen, is considering, the current chairman and CEO of GameStop, as of the February 24th, they're being encouraged to sink all their cash reserves into Bitcoin. They have $5 billion in cash on their balance sheet, and they're being asked by shareholders and pressured to take that money and plug it all into crypto. So that's your answer. Well, there you go.
Well, that'll do it.
Good luck to them, I guess.
Yeah. Good luck, GameStop.
That works.
I will not buy a subscription to Game Informer. Actually, they stopped doing that anyway, right?
Yeah, it's gone. That one's also gone.
Bastards. I like that magazine. It was all right.
Do you want to pre-order? Do you want to subscribe to Game Informer magazine?
John knows
issues.
John knows this stuff. I thought of you the other day. I was in this mall and they had an old software, etc. Well, it's where it used to be. Now it's a Zoomies or Zoomez or however the hell you say that closed place. But it was the exact layout still. So I could walk in there and just kind of VR my head a little bit and just feel like, oh, I'm in this software, etc. again. This is where I waited in line at 5 a.m. to get my Dreamcast, and like had this feeling in there. And I thought, John, he could be behind that counter. Trying to tell me Sega's going to buy Nintendo or some bullshit thing.
Most likely in the back room goofing off. But yeah, I could be behind the counter. I mean, when I worked at Software, etc., the way they did payroll was based on, there's an algorithm, right? But like, depending on the volume you were selling, the business you were doing, depended on how many people you could have on payroll. And our office insisted on using the maximum amount of payroll that they could.
Yeah.
So if they said you can have 7 employees working right now, we would have 7 employees working because we had the payroll for it. We would always do it.
Yeah.
And because it was in a small town and our GameStop was the only like real place without going into like Walmart or something like that to get video games, and for a wide range, we had an insane amount of payroll. So when you picture like a mall, Software, etc., they're not very big buildings. And we would have the payroll to have 6 people working for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And so we only had 2 cash registers. So you have 2 people working cash registers. You have 1 person keeping the floor, clean, doing alphabetizing, stuff like that. You got 1 person talking to the customers. And you got 2 chuckleheads in the back, shrink wrapping video games, putting things in, discs and sleeves and goofing off in the back. It was the greatest first job that a human being could possibly have.
It sounds like it.
Absolutely.
It sounds like
loved it. I got paid basically minimum wage, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Now, the amount of things that I got away with and did in the course of my Software Etc. and GameStop career, insane. Absolutely insane things were done within those stores, but it was so much fun.
Yeah. Good times, man.
Yeah.
Simpler times, let's call them.
Yeah.
Sounds better than working at a McDonald's.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I got to cut
I'm a McDonald's alumni, you guys. I don't know if you know that.
I know. I've seen
I didn't
pictures.
know that.
Well, he's sent us pictures before. Remember, he was working.
I thought
I
thought he
picture,
was a Starbucks barista. I thought the pictures
That too.
were Starbucks.
I did that too.
Okay.
I did that
all right.
too.
Was that
I
Starbucks or Tim Hortons? Which one was it? Not that
Starbucks.
Okay, I don't know why.
When they were new, when they were new in Canada, it was a big deal. They're like, "Oh my god, fancy coffee at Starbucks!" Ooh.
Really? Because we say that about Tim Hortons down here. We get excited. About that.
Yeah. Well, there's this honeymoon phase when a new big corpo, but that was back in the day where like all coffee in Canada was swill. Was Tim Hortons just like drip coffee and lattes and all kinds of fancy drinks were, it was a honeymoon phase where all that shit was like really new to the middle class.
What part of the marriage are we in now? If that was honeymoon, what are we thinking about?
I mean, now
divorce?
it's just like any other place, and there's so many local places now, like
we're at the tell your sister I'm not coming to dinner phase. I'm watching football tonight. That's the phase of the marriage.
I mean, right now,
grumpy on the porch swing.
Yeah.
Right now they've been in a boycott phase for a little while for various reasons, but the most recent being the conversations here are like by Canadians, so Starbucks is out. Yeah, don't want to. There's this dynamic up here where because of solidarity, we don't want to be a traitor and buy American stuff while the trade wars happen.
I think you should absolutely hold the line, dude. Hold the line and absolutely do not buy our shit until we get our freaking bullshit straight. Oops, I'm getting political. All right, moving along.
All right, yeah. Well, it's just I don't mean anything personal, and I love Americans. I just don't like the administration. They're assholes.
Turns out you and I are the same. Yep. Let's talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. You might say, Scott, why are we doing that? It's an old game. We can't get that game. Oh, soon you will. The remake is official, and we talked briefly about this last week because there was some Switch news about it, but it's been confirmed for everything. PC all the way down to the Switch. All consoles, July 11th of 2025, you will get 3 and 4 as a one package. And I'm of the personal opinion that 3 is where the series peaked. So I'm genuinely excited about picking this up. Anyone else looking forward to?
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was my first Tony Hawk game that I played.
Yeah.
Because I was late getting into it because I was like, I don't skateboard. I'm not going to like these games. And it took 3 of them to come out before someone was like, you should try it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some video of the Doom guy skateboarding.
Oh, shit.
So I think they might be putting him in this, unless that was just something fun they did. I don't know.
I can't remember
a clip of it
because you and I talked about how they're probably not going to get Star Wars characters back and some of these other things. So maybe they'll make up for that with other promotions, other crossovers.
Let me see if it's in the news. I said it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remaster finally announced, and you can drop in as Doom guy.
Nice.
Confirmed. Yes.
Bring it on. Oh wow, that's showing.
You got a pre-order for it.
So
here's the confirmed skaters. You got Tony Hawk.
Yep.
Bucky Lasik. I'm going to probably mess up these names. Sorry, skateboarders.
Do you think Bucky Lasik has like 20/20 vision? That guy? With a name like Lasik, I'm saying.
Lasik. With a name like Lasik, it's guaranteed.
It's got to be good. Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to just go through and butcher a bunch of names. I'll say the guest names.
Okay.
If you pre-order, you get the Doom Slayer and you get Revenant. I don't know who Revenant is.
Revenant. It's not the dude from the Revenant 1 and 2 games. You played 2. It's not that. There's no guy named Revenant, is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Remember the Revenant games?
Oh, and it's only the roster so far, so there could be.
What if it's Leonardo DiCaprio all mauled up from a bear? That'd be funny from the Revenant.
Every time Leo goes to skate, a bear drags him off.
I would love that, dude. That's a game for me. Real quick, look at this. So this is some upgraded graphics. It's a very small video, but you can see. So here's hurry up, lady. Here we go. Old, new, old, new, old, new. That's pretty good. This is a nice upgrade. I guess the last one was like that too, so I shouldn't be that surprised. But anyway, I'll be getting this. I like them Tony Hawks. I'm a fan of the whole series all the way up through Underground 2. And then I
like the art graphic for the Doom Digital Deluxe trailer where it looks like the Doom guy is hunting Tony Hawk.
Oh, where is it? Is this somewhere handy?
Hold on. Can I paste it in the chat? Because I've got it up on the wrong computer to put it in Discord.
100%.
I'll just put it in.
Unless it doesn't let you.
The wrong queue. Okay.
Does it let you?
There we go. Oh, open that.
It doesn't show up. You may not have rights.
In the YouTube chat?
Yeah. I may have to give you rights. Let's see.
Did I get moderated?
Well, you just I just need to make you a mod.
I'll do this. I'll do this.
Say something in there like just words, and then I'll mod you.
Okay.
I'll say
words. That's what I'll say.
Okay, so we got some words coming in. There's Craftless Rogue.
Yeah.
All right, now
There's
we're going
words.
to.
That's me.
How do I do this? Add as moderator.
And while we figure this out, I'm going to go ahead and post the link also in our Discord because I figured out how to pull that up too. So there you go.
Let's see that you said words.
Compatibility, standard moderator. Here we go. Let's save. All right. Does it let you do it now? Paste
maybe.
it. This is fun to do on live air.
Yeah.
There it is. It worked. Totally worked.
Look at the power I have.
You have a lot of power now. Look at that, you guys. Oh, is this the this is the actual? Okay, let's go.
So this is the article, but if you scroll down, you'll see where it looks like the Doom Slayer is hunting Tony Hawk. Go down further.
This one right here.
Like it looks like he's gonna kill Tony Hawk.
Oh, his mask. It's in the mask.
Yeah, he's in the mask of him.
I'm gonna turn it down a little. There we go. All right, let's see what we got here. Digital Deluxe includes the Doom Slayer.
Look at him skateboarding.
Oh shit!
What do you think of that, Beau?
Chainsaw. He's riding on a chainsaw now.
Okay, Revenant.
Oh, the Revenant. It's from Doom. It's a Doom.
It's a bad guy in Doom, the Skeletor guy. All right, what else we got?
Damn.
Music. Those two facing off. Well, they're awfully friendly there. All right.
Well, they just want to.
That's so stupid, dude. Him riding on his hands. That is so dumb. All right. Well, there's even more reason to. Is this included? Or is this some kind of DLC shit? Do you know?
I don't know. It's probably part of the Digital Deluxe. Let me see.
Oh.
It's probably on Steam, right?
That sounds right to me, too.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Digital Deluxe Edition. Yeah, it looks like it's part of the Digital Deluxe Edition.
All right. That's their way of saying we're not bringing Vader or anybody else here. Just no Spider-Man. Just enjoy this one thing and also pay us extra for it. That's what they're saying. But I still want this game. 3 is really good.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, 4 is also good, but I don't think I played much of 4. I'm sure it's fine. But 3 I played the shit out of.
I will say, I think the pricing for this isn't that bad. I mean, again, pricing always a bit subjective, but the Digital Deluxe is regular video game price.
Yeah, and the entry level.
If you want the regular, it's $50.
Yeah, it's good. $49. Right. I think that's a good deal. 2 games in one. I know it's retro, but it's remastered. Like,
yeah, they did work.
I'm all in on this. That's not the only real question I have is it's not the same conversion devs because they got bought by Blizzard and they're busy doing other stuff now. It's not Vicarious Visions. It's whoever you told me last week it was. I forgot. But whoever that is, whether they can pull this off or not, I don't know. Hope so. Well, that's it for that. Hey, guess what? Here's another shocker for you. Sega. You know Sega, all that. They are, they are, we do what Nintendo don't, all that stuff. They are currently, according to Metacritic, the #1 publisher in the world of video games. Nobody's had higher sales than Sega. Which is a crazy thing to come out of a mouth because you just don't think of them that way.
Well, hold on. Let's roll it back because it says #1 publisher of the year.
Or I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. Of 2024. That's the ranking. Sorry, I didn't make that clear. I made it sound like all time or something, but
They say no, like critically or sales
wise, like numbers sold, I believe. Here it is for the third time. So this third time in a row, Sega's happening. Let's see, the third time Sega's up there, number one publisher of the year according to Metacritic. Wonder what the game's zub. All right, let's see. Let me go to the actual Metacritic data. 15th annual game publisher rankings. Here we go. Average Metascore so it's all based on Metascore, I guess. 150 possible points. Skip around. Okay. Let me go to the bottom. They're giving me everyone. I don't want it.
Oh, you know what carried it was Metaphor for last year.
I wondered about that.
Did a lot of good for them.
That's
that's a Sega? Yeah, I guess it was a Sega.
The first publisher, here's what the Metacritic review says about Sega. This is directly from their site. It says the first publisher to achieve our number one ranking 3 times, not in a row, though. Oh. Sega was buoyed by the massive critical acclaim for the JRPG Metaphor ReFantazio, a rare all-new IP in the sea of remakes, ports, and sequels. Although speaking of the latter, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth also scored 90s. Sega's only real dud last year was Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, Sweep the Board. And even with that disappointment, the publisher still finished with the year's highest average Metascore. Previous year, it was number 9. And the number 2 one, which is honestly who I would have thought was Capcom, who has been consistently been doing really good work too.
Yeah, Capcom number 1 last year, number 2 this year. Sony in 2023, Microsoft in 2022. Sega was there for 2021. Capcom again a couple of times. Nintendo's on here once. Sega in 2016. So it jumps around, but it did feel like Sega had a really good year, like kind of across the board. Their smaller stuff, their bigger stuff, all of their RPGs scored really well, except whatever Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Sweep the Board is. That's a terrible name. But you may as well put,
Demon Slayer is a very popular new anime.
Yeah,
and so
I've seen some of anime. I've seen some of that, but I don't know what the name's so long. They may as well put by the coward Robert Ford at the end. That's freaking just too long. It's too long, man. But that's great. 82.9 average as opposed to second place, second place, which is 82.1, 78.8 for whoever Axis Games is. Let's see. California publisher. I don't know what any of those are. Anyway, kind of cool. Focus did well.
Yeah.
Focus did real good with the Warhammer 40K business.
Yeah. I got to get back to that one. I got to give it an earnest retry.
Squeenix in at number 6, a tie with Gamera Games, whoever that is. Squeenix did, let's see, Rebirth. Obviously, you guys have been playing that. That was good this year. What else? Oh, yeah, Rebirth's their highest rated of the year, 92%. So there you go. Yar.
I think they just had the one game, no?
I had more.
No, it says they had 12. They said they had 12 titles.
Yeah.
12 titles, okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of some of those were remakes, like the Dragon Warrior 3 thing, and I can't remember what all, but yeah. Anyway, good job, Sega. You're back.
Sega's really doing impressive work, even doing impressive work on the movie front. We got 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
And arguably,
how crazy is that?
More coming because 3 was a huge success and also well received critically. And I have a feeling they're going to release a service for all their retro games because they pulled everything from stores, and I think they got some plan. I'm not sure how that'll go, but they've got new versions of this year. They've got new versions of Crazy Taxi, a new Shinobi game, side-scrolling looking thing looked really cool, and something else. Oh, a new Jet Set Radio game. Like they're making a push. They may not have a console, but they got a lot of strength.
Yeah, I mean they've got a great catalog of games. They're putting out solid work when they do it. They seem to be going off of and it's crazy philosophy, making video games that are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very rare I look at a Sega game and I go, that's the best looking video game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But you know what? The things that it does is usually pretty good. Yeah. Like, I don't look at Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii and go, oh my God, I've never seen a prettier video game. But it's a video game I want to play. And when I do, it's super fun.
And it reviews really well. So there you go.
And I mean, Metaphor, that was my game of the year. So that helped too, I think.
USO Ninja in the chat says, sweep the board looks like a Mario Party. That sounds bad, but okay. Good luck. Sweep the board.
Sweep the board is what I tell people to do in Pirate Yakuza.
Yeah.
Sweep the board, mateys. Get it clear.
Put on your diaper and sweep the board.
I'm pretty sure that's how Danny beat Johnny in the karate tournament.
Sweeping the board,
He swept the board.
Yeah, the coach leaned over and goes, sweep the board. And he said, okay, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's that. Let's move on to the break. When we come back from this break, Dear Martha, another contest.
Shit, break time already?
Yeah, and look at this. We got an A through J contest coming up. I've never done multiple choice this long in my life.
Yeah, I should have honestly numbered them because it would have made more sense to just be like the top 10.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to retype numbers, and I already had letters there.
I could do it while you're gone, while you pee. I don't mind.
Would it make you feel better?
No, it would probably make me. It would make me feel better if it made you feel better. So would it make?
Let's face this with bravery and dignity, Scott.
Yeah.
Give us all the letters.
All right, all letters. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
We'll try our best.
A through J.
Die valiantly if we must.
That's right. A through J. We're doing it.
A barrage of your lettering.
So stick around for that. We also got our week in gaming. Man, there was a lot of Rebirth around here, and
I hope you guys are ready to talk about a game.
Yep. Two of us played one video game.
Pretty much. I played a bunch though, so got a nice balance there. Plus a bunch of feedback and other things. So stick around. Come back soon. We'll be right back. Back, everybody. Welcome back to the program. It is time for us to play a little Dear Martha, and man, do I look forward to this every week. This one looks intimidating, though. John, tell us what we're up against today.
Well, once again, we are playing Guess the Game. Same rules as before, but in case it is your first time here, I'm going to read a negative review in the form of a Dear Martha letter that does a bad job describing a video game. And you, meaning you, Scott, you, Beau, and you at home, are going to do your best to guess which video game the review is of. Last week, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember if you got it or not, Scott. I don't remember. So this week, I figured...
Oh, I did get it last week because remember you were like, you somehow fell backwards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you accidented your way into victory. That's right.
Yep.
Well, this week I made it a little bit tougher because you need to pick. I'm giving you a list to pick from, but instead of just like 4 choices, I have put my top 10 most played games on Steam, and it is one of these 10 video games.
Oh, these are your top 10.
In order from most played to also most played, but the bottom of the 10.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky, Baldur's Gate 3, WWE 2K23, The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, Elden Ring, Dragon Age Origins,
Dragon Age, Oranges,
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and XCOM 2.
Okay, so this is your all-time top 10 most played on the service. Right? Not just for the year, not for 2024, but like forever.
All time.
Okay.
According to Steam.
All right. I think I got it. Beau, you got this? Or sorry, keep going.
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, let's do this.
Is there more to describe for us before we go?
No, that's it. Let's do the letter. I'll paste it in there so you all can see it and review it as I go.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
My dearest Martha, the Core podcast features a host that, well, honestly, I don't care for.
Oh, no. Jeez.
And you need...
That's a real review?
Really got Scott.
I was drinking the wrong time. Sorry.
And you need look no further than his most played game list to understand why I find him so bothersome. I have never heard someone complain on one hand that he has no free time for games anymore, while sinking hours into lengthy RPGs on the other. But I consider myself a fair listener, and so I've decided to give this misguided host's recommendations a chance, and played one of his most played games from Steam. Martha, this was a mistake. Did you know people actually play video games where dialogue and exploration are more frequent than combat? And when that combat comes, these sick degenerates are actually okay if it's slow-paced and basic. Hell, in some cases it could even be turn-based. Well, I'm sad to say this is a game like that. What the hell is the point? If you want a story, go read a book. I could have saved a lot of hours if this game had just said, which of these people do you want to get killed by a dragon? Great, they died. The end. How hard is that? What did I have to do all this other stuff for? I give this game a 1 out of 10, and the only reason it got the 1 is because at least they'll never make another one. Yours in this life and the next, Timely Orange 09.
This is going to be hard because XCOM 2 is no dragon, so I'd take that out. But you said turn-based. So it's got to be No Man's Sky. Or sorry, it's got to be Baldur's Gate 3. That is not a turn-based game. No Man's Sky. Baldur's Gate 3. Dragon Age Origins lets you kind of pause the action and make choices, right?
Real time with pause, I believe.
Right.
Memory serves.
And like the old ones, and then, or like the old Baldur's Gate stuff. And then that's it, I think. What else is turn-based?
From on this list?
I mean, XCOM is, but there's no dragons in it.
XCOM is definitely turn-based, but there's no dragon.
Like, I think
that's Final Fantasy XIV. Which one is that one? 14?
14. MMO, real time.
Turn-based.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a good call, though.
I've never heard someone complain on no free time while syncing hours. I'm just like, I'm looking at my list because I'm assuming the core host is me.
Well, it's definitely John, but
It was me. It was about me.
Making
that
fun
one
of
I'll
us.
give you the answer
Okay.
for.
All right.
It was me because that's the 10 most played games. It's from my library.
it's his list. Now you got to decide which negative review was he giving, which he wouldn't really give it because he liked it. Obviously, it's in his top 10.
Yeah, these are all made up. Just in case anybody thinks that any of the games
I thought
I've
it
been
was a
talking
real one. I was like,
Nope, just John.
okay. I was like, this is an odd review. I've never seen it. Okay, good.
I'm going Dragon Age.
It's one of those two, right? It's got to be. I feel like the last line is the biggest hint. Is I give this game a 1 out of 10, and the only reason it got a 1 is because at least they'll make another one, which is the shot at Origins being the only Dragon Age game, technically.
Oh, I see. 1 in 10 original.
So I am going with Dragon Age Origins.
I will too, and I'm also sure this name Timely Orange 09 is some reference. 09 may have been the first Dragon Age.
2009.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to agree. I think it also is Dragon Age Origins. So we both say Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah.
All right, and definitely you are agreeing with the chat, who almost unanimously, I didn't see anybody say something other than, well, USO Ninja said Dragon Age Orgies.
Yeah,
Nope.
so, I don't know.
Dragon Age Oranges.
You have to filter those out of Steam if you don't want to see them, those games.
Hey.
The other thing too is I believe someone dies to a dragon in the final act. I have something of a memory of there being a big dragon fight at the end too.
I got great news. Everybody's a winner today. Everybody's a winner. Now, once again, it's kind of funny to watch you guys get so hung up on a point that actually had nothing to do with it. Turn-based, at no point did I say the game I was reviewing was turn-based.
Oh,
I mentioned that some games...
Scott on that one.
Hold on. Where
at
that said in here? Hold on.
I'm talking about... Okay, here's what it says. Hell, in some cases, it could even be turn-based.
Oh, that's...
So even that sentence doesn't commit to it, and then it says after that, well, I'm sad to say this is a game like that. Doesn't mean it's turn-based.
Okay, that's fair.
So the hint was really basically, spoilers everybody, the plot of Dragon Age Oranges. There is a dragon that needs to die at the end, and the death of the dragon will kill somebody, although there is a way around it. But it will kill somebody, so that is a reference to it. Also, They'll never make another one was a cheeky joke on both the fact that I think it's the only good Dragon Age game and the fact that after Veilguard, they're probably not going to make another one. And yes, I need to stop. I need to stop being clever with the names because Timely Orange 09, Orange was a joke about the fact that I can't say origins without saying oranges, which I butchered as I was saying the title. I was like, geez, I gave it away so much. I got to stop. And 09 is when it came out.
Yeah.
So
the years I almost always get the years right. I don't know why I do those so well, but I do. That was the giveaway for me. Or that was the final thing that told me that's what it was and not Baldur's Gate. But yeah, I did F up that. I, again, backwards stepped into a win because I thought turn-based was like bespoke. Like that was like locked in.
But technically it's not a turn-based game also.
Nope.
Yeah, it also isn't.
Nope.
It's real-time with pause, not even turn-based.
Yeah, it's not even really, Was it the one that did that and then changed? Pillars of Eternity 2 launched like that style. And then later they added a mode. You had to start over, but they added a true turn-based mode to it. And I always mix them up.
Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous also has both real-time with pause and turn-based.
Oh, interesting. Their 40K game does not have that. The what's it called? The one. The new one. The newish
Rouge Trader.
Rouge Trador. That's it. Rouge Trudeau. Well done, John. That was awesome as usual. Now this. The games we played this week. We begin with the shared play.
I love that sound. By the way, we just
it'll change your life. That sound.
Good.
I agree. I have to hear it once in a while just to remind myself how great Metroid is.
That's a great piece of music right there. By the way, just proposal, because usually we do the shared play up first.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if we want to so that we have a running road for it, depending on what we get up to. If you want to do yours first,
that's actually a good idea. Since it's pretty much all you guys.
Scott,
played.
do you want to talk for a little bit before Beau and I just take over the show?
I think this is a good idea. Actually, I'm glad you guys thought of it, or both thought of it. So we'll go straight into mine, then we'll go into our shared stuff because the shared thing is one game, and you guys played the living shit out of it. So we'll give you lots of, like Beau said, road to do that. All right, I'm going to start with something that I've had my eye on for a while, hadn't pulled the trigger, don't know why, I just hadn't, but I know what it finally got me to pull the trigger, and that is trying to get the 4X itch scratched, and I fully believe that one day Civ 7 will fully scratch it when it's done, like Civ always is like this. It's how Civ is. Yeah. We've talked about this 100 times, we have to tell it again, but
it's in beta right now.
It's kind of in beta. Yeah, it's a good beta. A great beta, in fact, a very promising beta, but I still think like a year from now, that game is like the greatest thing in the world. But until it is, I've been kind of poking around, and I really like a few things that I've played. I liked, I forgot the name of it already. The one that they donated to us. I've been enjoying that. Oh, someone later
Age of
talks
Wonders
about it.
4.
Age of Wonders 4.
Age of Wonders 4. Yeah.
It's very good.
Thank you to, I don't remember the username, XTXT75462, something like that.
Something like that.
It's it's a clone trooper. A clone trooper gifted us the game.
Yeah, of course. Oi.
But,
I've changed my name, or I've changed my voice.
I haven't gotten around to it, but we did all get gifted it, and thank you. Very much appreciated.
I played quite a bit of it. I really quite like it. So it's scratching the fantasy side, which I do itch there occasionally. But I also have this scratchy sci-fi side of 4X that is often not scratched. And it's because either the games I like in that genre are way old and I just don't want to go back to them, or just nothing new has really done it for me. And I had forgotten that the guys who made Gladius, the 40K combat-focused 4K game, 4X is what I meant to say.
4X. Yeah. 40K 4X.
I don't know why I said it that way. They made another game, and it's called ZEPHON or ZEPHON. I'm not quite sure how you're supposed to pronounce it. The game doesn't actually tell me.
Gray ZEPHON.
It's perhaps. I mean, your guess is as good as mine.
Beeblebrox.
But it's these guys, and they basically took their systems, their game. They basically have a method to their madness, which is a mostly combat strategy focus with some economic stuff, of course, but it's all to feed the war effort, really. And 40K is like a perfect thing for that. They made their own, and it's called this ZEPHON, ZEPHON. Does that have a subtitle? It might. No, it does not.
I don't see a subtitle. Looks cool.
Anyway, it's awesome. I already like Gladius. Don't even know how to say that one. Already. I already thought that was pretty great, but it's constrained by the IP and what they will allow them to use or do or whatever. And there was a little bit less at launch and that kind of thing. So this game is set on a post-apocalyptic Earth where your job is to not just survive and thrive, but basically take the place over. I mean, it is a 4X after all. The concept though is very, very combat focused, again, like Gladius is. And I really like it a lot, like a whole lot. It deals with a bunch of really interesting issues. Like there are things that are just mutated from terrible chemical whatever, or changes in the ecosystem. And so a lot of the creatures that are just sort of neutral that you have to kill or avoid or whatever, those are just terrible, kind of Fallout-ish. I would compare it. There's Mad Max elements to it. There's some super advanced cyber stuff that's part of it. I don't want to get too deep into that because I'm not that deep into it myself, but it's neat and would rather people discover it than me tell them about it. And it is just a really cool game. Not much else to add other than it's combat. Like it's all about supporting better combat and strategies. It's not about I'm going to win through religion. Like this game does not care about that.
This game cares not for your religion.
It really doesn't. It cares not for, like Gladius, it cares not for your other methods of winning, except I guess, economically and things like that. But really this is about beef up your army. I mean, your first, like in Civ, your first thing is a scout, or not a scout, but a founder unit that creates the city. What are they called? Whatever they are.
A settler?
Settler, thank you. And when you start this game, you start with 2 sets of freaking army dudes with machine guns. That's who starts. And then one like mechanical creature thing or metal thing that will then create your city. There's a ton of races and stuff. I've just been playing with the one that reminds me of home so I can get my head around it. I've been playing it equally PC and Steam Deck plays great on there. And super hooked on it. It's great. It's scratching the itch. The sci-fi, the 4X, the turn-based, the beef up your army, go in there, take out what is essentially city states, even though they're more like, you found a guy with 2 heads and he currently runs a band of these weirdos and he wants peace. Do you want peace? And you can have a car. It's all the diplomacy stuff's in there. I realized this is such a brief way of describing a 4X game with all of its complexities. But if you already like playing the combat side, focusing on the combat side of 4X strategy, this is that. This is the game. Take out all the fluff. Forget about pottery. Don't worry about any of that shit. It's just, you want big old walker tank things like mechs, you better do what you got to do to get those. And that's going to take some trouble. Oh no, a sandworm-like looking hairy creature came out of the forest. We've got to beat that before it takes out my home city. Meanwhile, across the map, there's a bunch of zombie guys that one warlord controls, and if I can either make peace with him or conquer him, then I get control of some weird stone that's going to give me all this power. Like, it's a lot of weird ideas, very apocalyptic, my vibe, all jammed into this like military focused 4X, and it's rad. So
that sounds cool. It looks awesome from the gameplay you showed. It looks really cool.
Yeah, very pretty game too. So, and the Gladius was good looking, but it was also very stark 40K colors. Not known for its depth of color palette. Some of its DLC maybe added some of that. We get a lot of green with the Necrons and stuff like that. But in this case, it's very pretty, very colorful. There are quadrants on there, or parts of the map that you may want to go land on. One of the squares, and if you hover over it, you see, it's full of all this like, I don't know, like these flies that are infected with something, and there's also something leaking from the ground. And so if you leave your troops there too long, too many turns, they're going to just slowly die off and poison themselves. And so you got to be smart about that. But you've got like hero units, and we're leveling your units up when they've done enough stuff, and all the things that you're sort of used to in a Civ game, but just all badass military sci-fi focused. That's the game. And it finally scratched the itch I could not scratch. So very happy with it. $30
Thank
too.
goodness you're not as itchy as you were, because I got to tell you, sounds like you were having a bad day.
That is true. It is only $39, so cheap as well, and that's full price. So it's not like this is some $70 game. It's a really good price as well.
That's
big
nice.
big rec for that one. And while we're at it, I got a call that's related from Luke. Let's hear what Luke has to say.
Hi, Core Crew. Love the show, especially when you talk about Transformers. That being said, I have a hot take for you. Well, actually, it's only a lukewarm take since a lot of reviews back this up currently. Anyways, here's the take. Age of Wonders 4 is a better 4X game than Civ 7. It is more polished, a crazy amount of options, including creating your own faction. It has more fantastical elements like dragons and spells and all those pieces. It has all the subsystems Civ 7 has, including a robust diplomacy system. And the big kicker, it has a tactical battle system for an additional layer of complexity. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thanks, and keep up the good work.
So he's right. And go
I
ahead.
would argue that Age of Wonders 4 has more fantasy units than all of the Civilization games combined, perhaps.
Well, that's true, yeah. But I to his point, it's more complete than Civ 7. Civ 7 is
Yes,
kind of incomplete.
I don't think it's a super hot take. I think it's probably accurate.
Yeah. And, as much as I'm not really, I don't love the whole, well, my 4X game is better than your 4X game, or my team shooter is better than your team shooter, or whatever. Like, it's all subjective. But I think he's right in that there's a ton of stuff in that game that is not in Civ 7. And I don't just mean the fantasy elements. I mean, like, just systems and layers and all that.
I also think there's value in, sometimes when a new release is coming out, before you know if it's going to be good or not, you work yourself up into a lather. Like, I'm going to play a 4X game. I'm ready to do this. And then the reviews come out and it's bad or middling. And you go, I'm not going to buy it. I don't think I want to get it yet. But I was so excited for this thing. I was in the mood for it. I think there is value in, not as a direct, like, we're better, but like giving people other opportunities to say, hey, maybe you're holding off on Civ a little bit. Here's another game you could play that, to use your analogy, might scratch that itch for a little bit while they figure out what they're doing over in Civilization Land. It got a patch, but I would argue that this is a patch for people that like the game as it was and maybe had some issues with mechanics or glitches or things like that, more than a patch to bring in people who don't think it quite hit the mark.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that going on right now where everybody's seeing the lukewarm early launch of Civ 7 like they did with 6 and 5 and everything all the way back to probably 1, that they're all doing stuff like this. Like Old World just released a big patch that addressed a bunch of AI stuff and revamped some diplomacy stuff. And it's like everybody's trying, when they have an expansion. So everybody's trying to get a little piece of this pie while the attitude around 7 is a little fishy. And that will probably change because it's a king for the reason, or it's a king for a reason, and it will probably eventually win out. But yeah,
Maybe, as I learned and have been told, no king rules forever.
That's true. I've heard that as well. Let's hope that's true. Okay, so that's one game I played. I also played 2 Point Museum.
I'm glad you did, because I have heard stellar things about this game.
Yeah.
And not to say I thought it was going to be bad, but I'm curious what gets that boost of interest that didn't seem to be present for 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point Campus. Is that what it was?
2 Point Campus was, the college follow-up to Hospital. Hospital did pretty well. It was a Kickstarter. It was a bunch of the old theme Hospital guys. So they had a lot of expectation around it that was extra on top, like, this is a spiritual successor and all this other stuff. And it was quite good. I liked Hospital quite a bit. I haven't played Campus. I own it. Someone gifted it, but I haven't played it yet, so I can't speak to it. This is that formula though. And the reviews, the reason I noticed this is it was relatively inexpensive. It's only $30. And I thought, was that like an expansion? Like, what is this? No, it's the full game. And I guess they've all been similarly priced, so it's not that big a deal, but it just, I don't know, struck me as like, that's a good deal. But then also these reviews are going, they finally perfected an already great formula. this is the best of the three because they've done this. They've made these changes that make it the best. And I wish the two other games they'd revamp them to feature this or that or whatever. And I was like, man, these reviews are screaming about this thing. So as a fan of Hospital, I just thought, all right, well, what's $30 that I could also return if I don't like this? So I did it. And man, these reviews are correct. I think a big part of it is this thing has a real vibe to it that is just so you're in a museum and not look, I think hospitals are great. They're important. We need them and stuff. But there was always something a little stressful about, there's like 12 people in the lobby throwing up everywhere because you don't have a certain room ready yet or whatever. And it just kind of stressed me out. This game doesn't have that. This game says, don't worry about that stress. We're just going to make this rad game and you're going to like it. And here's how that'll work. And they take everything that made those other games good, all of the management, hire in little dudes, train them to do certain jobs, all that stuff. You can hire like Indiana Jones type guys in this. And their job is to go on expeditions. And on those expeditions, they bring back new relics. And while they're out there, they have some stuff that comes up mid-mission that you have to deal with. Like, we got there, but something caved in. We didn't expect that. What do you want to do? And the answer is dig yourself out or leave the relic and dig yourself out, or protect the relic and wait for help. Stuff like that. And they have results to that, or consequences like this is going to take longer, so many more days, or this is going to injure your Indiana Jones-like guy. The other two people there will be fine, but he's hurt, and that means he's going to have to be in the hospital thing for a while and get mended up, and they have that in the game. So there's this element of we're going out and being treasure hunters, but at the same time, we're now displaying this stuff at this. This
looks awesome, dude. I'm like, well, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really want to play it.
It's really fun. I got so wrapped up in it. Everyone always wants to. Let's see if I can find the interface for the expedition.
Museums are fun.
They are fun. They're really fun to just kind of. They're also these guys are really good at the whole just watching them. Like I just watched. I don't know if you saw it, but somebody just stole a book.
So yeah, I saw it.
So you want to get good security guards, all that stuff. That helps. You can raise and lower the price of stuff in your gift shop.
Yeah, this is that's bringing back a memory. So I worked at a museum for a while.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
I worked in a shop at a museum, and we had on Canada Day. We were hugely busy, and some butthead stole some Nook Shooks from our art display.
Oh shit.
Which is like, First Nations, up north, they make these things called the Nook Shooks, which are just like landmarks kind of, but they're artsy, and we sell them for people. Like all the money goes to the artists because they don't have a lot of money up north and stuff. And some asshole stole them. And it's funny just watching this game and the guy walks in and stealing a book, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, you've been there.
Really low stealing from a museum. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to rob a convenience store. You're going to go and take some academic book that no one's going to buy just because you're a pure stealing asshole.
Yeah, because you're a
If
dick.
you're going to steal from a museum, it better be like a rare diamond to complete a freeze ray or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way of saying it. It's got a lot of things that I like about it over the previous games, like just good quality of life stuff. Quickly copy a thing you already want and like, and just move it. Copy an entire room and create a new room that's basically that room and tweak it. When you do these expeditions, you actually click on the place to send them. You decide if you want them to be quick, slow, detailed, or safe. That will improve your chances. Like detail improves your chances of getting better relics, but it also means they could get hurt or it will take longer. But it's not like you're just waiting for that shit. You have plenty to manage while that's going on. And when it pops, you go open the crate that the helicopter dropped off, and you find out kind of RNG wise, like, what did you get from that place? And they're like 5 things to discover in a location. And it might be the head of a dinosaur, and the other parts are the rest of the dinosaur. And you want to make sure try to get all those, because a complete dinosaur gets tons of tips, tons of tickets, lots of notice from investors, all that kind of stuff.
Holy shit, I want to play this right now. This looks so good, dude. I'm buying it.
Game is real good. For $30, no brainer. I'm having a ball with it. I'm so glad I picked it up.
This looks, I don't know. Something is this looks more better than the other two. The other two, I'm like, oh, they look cool. Let me wish list it, maybe play it, never play it. I'm like, I just immediately want to play this. Like,
and their radio station, they call it 2 Point Radio. I don't know if that was in the other two. Usually you have like the PA person, and they still have that here. Someone will say, someone has taken a dump in the bathroom. Can we please get a janitor or whatever? And it's all very British. But the funniest bits in this game, which there's a lot of humor in it and ridiculousness, it comes from the 2 Point Radio station that's always playing. And so between music or whatever, a voice will come on and do, it reminds me of GTA radio, except very British. Lots of funny stuff there. Anyway, you can decorate any way you want. You can move shit if you don't like the layout. You're like, this whole wall sucks here, I'm going to move it. You can do that. If you're like, I don't like this flooring, I'm going to change all the flooring. That's like free. You just change it. There's a sandbox mode. There's a campaign mode. I recommend at least starting the campaign and getting into there pretty deep so you can see what's up. That's what I'm doing right now. It's been very fun. Nice ramp up to learning all the systems. It's both easy to get into, and then I can tell there's, things that are going to get tricky. But it's just cozy and fun, and collecting is fun, and having these tourists come in and they like fall over on top of a fossil. It's just, I don't know. There's something great about it. This one right here, this guy's looking at an old fridge that you discovered in the snow, just like encased in ice. Like all of the relics are kind of silly and dumb, but they're really well thought out and detailed and have a little backstory, and you can get better versions of them. And
how much have you played so far? Like, have you had like a I can't put this down session?
Oh yeah, last night. So I first cracked it open yesterday and started playing on my desktop, and I went, this is bad. I'm never going to stop playing this. So I went to bed, turned it on my Steam Deck, and played like another 3 hours. So it was just like nonstop. I've been playing this since I picked it up. It's very, very good. If I didn't have to work all day today, I'd be playing it now. That's how much I like it.
Work.
Yeah. They're killing it though. Oh, look at this. You can get Sonic because it's a Sega. There's another game from Sega, by the way. Publisher is Sega. Oh, look, Sonic and Shadow there by that vending machine. They got vending machines. They got arcade machines. They have playgrounds for kids. They have all this stuff you can research and build. It's rad. And you can expand. This is just the first building, by the way. I haven't even shown, like, you can just keep going. It gets bigger and bigger. You can do the outside stuff, replace trees, like all that shit. So
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
In the spirit of this.
Yeah.
What next 2 point what would you like to see? Because this definitely calls back to kind of an old era of gaming that we don't see a lot of anymore, like the classic Sims games or, Hospital and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see them bring back?
Easy
next?
answer.
Or maybe a new setting.
Easy answer for me. I think they should do a mall. And the reason I say that is because it has all of this transactional stuff of build a store. That store's, and it's always something stupid like we make hats with holes in them or whatever. It's Whole Hat. Welcome to Whole Hat, right? And then you got people who have to staff it. You have security making sure people aren't robbing stuff. Like all of these systems still translate. But now you've got this mall, but then you have verticality. So you're working on floors. This may even do that. I don't know. I haven't gotten to where I can do floors. I don't think it's in there, but let me do multi levels of a mall or something like that. An airport would be fun too. That'd be a good one. Any like a con, like a Comic-Con style con let's call it 2 point convention or whatever. Any of those things would fit, and I think they have the chops to do it. Oh, see this? You guys like this. So these cards are basically cards. They tell you that expedition is going to have all of these events. Some are injuries, some are great, some are bad, some are slowing them down. And then if you've trained the right Indiana Jones guys to go on these trips, they'll have some skills to deal with that. So if he has medical training, then the injury is not going to happen at all because he knows what to do on site. So there's like this strategy element to that. It's not so deep that you feel like it's overwhelming at all. Like you can kind of do what you want to do, but finding people that are trained in the thing you want and then sending them on the expedition, kind of a Warcraft table thing, I guess, but better. Because the simple fact is you're having them explore and find relics. You don't have to go with them; they go do their own thing. But you just don't have to think that much about it. It's like, well, he knows how to do snow traversal, so he'll be better for this way up in the mountains thing. And then he'll come back with like a better quality version of a relic you really want. And if you have crappy versions, you can sell those later or put them in your inventory. Like there's just a lot of freedom and creativity going on. Game's rad. Big recommendation. Big thumbs up.
Yeah, I miss this type of game. There are 3 games. They're all from the Sim series. Well, not The Sims, but, Sim as a title that I would love to see make a comeback. Number 1 is Sim Park. For some reason, making a park was like the greatest thing in the world, even though it would always go a little crazy with the wildlife and you'd have like 7,000 elk just trampling over guests all the time.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Sim Tower. I don't know if you ever played Sim Tower, Scott.
I did. Loved
Sim
it.
Tower was amazing.
Such a good
loved
game.
Sim Tower so much.
Yep.
And number 3 is Sid Meier's Sim Golf.
Oh, yeah. Sim Golf is so good.
Sim Golf is one of the best games ever made. And it's so bizarre how good that game is. And it was a collaboration between Sid Meier and Will Wright. And what a winner that was.
Yeah, that's a hell of a game. And there have been attempts to do the golf thing. There's even some new one coming that I wish listed. I can't remember the name. But I'm always on a hunt to see who can spiritually success that. Nobody quite has done it, but yeah. I like Sim Ant too. I was a big fan of that. Even though it was really abstract, but running your own ant colony is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But this thing just really satisfying, and Steam Deck support is awesome. Great controller support. Text is a little small for that screen, but on PC, no issues. Runs like a dream, even on lower end stuff. It's really good. Can't recommend it enough. These 2 games this week, some of my favorite stuff I played recently. Really had a good time. And part of that is I've just been hunting for what's, Beau, you were going through this a while ago. It's like, what do I really want right now? And it's like, I'll play Overwatch for about 6 hours because nothing's quite doing it. I was having kind of that moment, partly because I've been swamp busy with my mom's accident, trying to deal with all that. And I've been remote a lot. So it had to be Steam Deck stuff for a lot of it. And just haven't been able to, like my vowed time has been less this week than I wanted. So these are the games that kind of, put me made me go to sleep too late. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It feels good to have a game like that, but like there's games like cerebrally, you're like, I should be playing and enjoying this, but you're just not interested. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yeah. It doesn't mean the game's bad. It means that you're not in the right frame of mind, right? And that's how I was feeling.
Just not that interested. It happens, and it's okay. Like, that's what I'm saying. If there was no new games released ever, you'd still have plenty of years ahead of you of things to try.
For sure. Now, my last one is kind of just a quick recommendation. I don't have a ton to say about it because I've only played 2 of the games that come with it, variations that come with it. But one of the complaints I've had when we do public Jackbox games for TMS patrons, my morning show. Mm-hmm. So everybody shows up, we play a bunch of Jackbox games, and the problem is most Jackbox games take anywhere between 20 minutes and 40, let's say. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the way the 2-hour runtime goes, there's always like this 5 to 10 minute chunk of time we can't fill or would wish we could fill. And I didn't know this, but their mega launcher that launches all possible games that you own, you can buy them, you can piecemeal buy them, or if you have the packs, they're all included in this big launcher now. On Steam, I assume on consoles too. And they've added a couple of new ones, like an adult version of Drawful and some other stuff like that. I haven't tried that yet, but they added something called Jackbox Survey Scramble. And the other day we got to try this with that patron group. It was so fun and so quick. They were like trivia and word-based stuff. You still flame with your phones. It's like the Jackbox stuff you play. Streams really well and all that. But they were quick. They were like 6 minutes here, 7 minutes there, maybe 10 at the most. Perfect little filler game, and is so much fun. It's really inspired this particular collection. And I want to say it's $10 for like 8 of these little these little word game type things. They're all smaller by design than the big blown out, Mystery Murder Party 2 and TKO 2 and all those sorts of things where you're drawing a lot. These are meant to be quick fillers, and they're very good at that. So if you're having a hard time cramming, your Jackbox playing with your community or whatever, and you need to fill an extra 10 minutes, this thing is great. high recommendation for Jackbox Survey Scramble, which was originally recommended, I think, from TV's Travis in our community. So huge hats off to him for that. Okay, that's it. Other things here and there, but that's pretty much mostly what I played. John, Beau, you've had a bit of a rebirth.
Is it time?
It's time.
I think it's time.
Lay it on us.
I think it's time, eh?
Yep.
Okay. I know you got to talk about it a little bit last week, so let me just start, John.
Yeah.
Just so how far are you finished the game? I've completed the campaign. How far?
No, I have not completed the campaign. I am at chapter 13. Where we were just betrayed by a party member.
Mm-hmm.
And they've taken off in a helicopter, and I have not pursued the helicopter. So that's where I'm at.
Gotcha. So you've got Sid's the boat, the tiny Bronco in the water.
I got the tiny Bronco.
Yeah. Okay. So you've run into old Vincent.
Yeah.
Got Vincent tagging along. That's awesome. All right. So that's about where we're, I guess, at. I'm not gonna. It's very tempting to talk about the end in terms of the whole package. I will just say video game is a very good video game. I enjoyed my playthrough from beginning to end, so I hope you do too. And I think we'll probably have a little bit of a continuation of this next week. We can maybe talk about the full story. So maybe we'll save like any commentary about the full story for when you finished.
Yeah.
Also on that note, Scott, any ambitions to play this, or should we leave details out, or should we not?
Well, I wouldn't spoil big stuff just because everyone listening doesn't want to spoil either. But I am going to play it. I have it. I just haven't. Okay. I haven't even hit start yet. I'm
trying not to spoil big stuff because it is a game that is a remake, so a lot of it is the same. But because of the way they've done the whispers, there is a bit of what's gonna be different, So yeah.
Sure.
Okay, I gotta say, if this game, if I had played this in 2024, this probably would have been my game of the year.
Sorry, Batman. No more Batman.
It definitely would have knocked Batman down a notch for sure. Batman VR. I wasn't here last week. Thank you very much for carrying the ship. I think that's the expression last week. Carrying the ship on land to the next body of water, which just means I had a lot of time to just sit and completely blaze from sunup to sundown and all night long Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I have done nothing but play this game. I got it hooked into my bones maybe around Junon. The Junon parade really kind of went oh shit, this game is funny, it's sad, it's doing hilarious stuff with mini games, although we'll talk about mini games in a second, but the parade mini game is awesome. I just having a great time, and I've been 100%ing. It's not just that I've been playing this game. I've been S-tiering every possible mini game I can. I've been collecting every single thing in the checklist gameplay. The story is incredible. Combat is a hell of a lot of fun. I remember it was already fun in the first one, but it's more fun. Not super challenging, but there are challenges. There are definitely some encounters.
Let's talk about that for just a second, because one thing that you and I have talked about, and I've mentioned it on the show, when I played Final Fantasy Remake, I did not like the combat system, and I played it on easy, and I basically just and mashed my buttons and got through the game. And it wasn't until I started a replay of Remake where somebody was like, well, you should try and use your abilities. Go into Punisher mode when you're fighting melee enemies. Do the thing. Do all of that, and you'll enjoy it. And I was like, for whatever reason, it clicked. And the amount of times now since that moment that this game has quote unquote clicked for me has been 7 times that I've been playing the game and been like, oh, you know what? This game did a really good job of me going, oh, you know what? There's a lot of value in me switching characters frequently and not just mainlining Cloud. Oh, there's a lot of value in doing this. And so we were talking about it where you said, hey, I'm really abusing some materia in the game. And mechanically, it's really put me on another level. And I was like, yeah, I haven't even touched it. And so sure enough, I decided, well, maybe I'll experiment with some of this materia business. once again, more stuff clicked. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Right.
This combat system in this game does not require you to go deep, but it has become more fun every time I let it get more complicated. That's been my takeaway from it. Every time I go, let's do more than just hack and slash and play Cloud, like, it gets better and better for me. And that's been my experience through it, to the point where now I'm like, oh my gosh, this combat system's actually really, really good.
Yeah, because you can do stuff like charge other characters ATB when you do your things. The synergy materia is awesome. I'm using, like, every time Cloud does anything with an ATB, Aerith casts Comet, which just shoots down a comet storm. So the battlefield always looks like chaos. It's very entertaining. And that's like how I've been playing on normal. I'm now starting to play on hard, which I will say I did the first, there's a side quest in the grasslands where you have to pick flowers for the Chocobo girl.
Yeah.
And there's a little encounter before that, which has these Mandrake characters. I don't even think you'll remember them from the main game. In hard mode, there are literally 50 Mandrakes, and they all shoot something at that stun lock you. And with 50 of them shoot you, you get stun lock and wiped. And I'm like, oh, I have to reform my materia and make a strategy they're weak to fire. So I got to go in with as much ATB as possible, use Magnify to hit multiple targets. And there's a puzzle to fighting the battle. And it's like the first side quest in the easiest place. And I'm like, 50 Mandrakes. Oh my God. So I'm just saying that, yes, there is like this tactical depth to the system, even though you can play it as a press X to win on easy kind of game. The combat challenge is to try and pressure them, then stagger them, then do as much damage as possible, extend the stagger, increase the stagger damage multiplier. That's how you sort of get victory on the harder combats, because sometimes if you don't have a good strategy but you're not dying, you can just be in a fight for 45 minutes. That also. Yeah. I'm not pressuring or staggering, but I'm not dying, and it's like, oh my God, but you do no damage in vanilla mode. You gotta pressure and stagger. So it is a lot of fun if you just, I think this is a tough thing that I think the three of us have on the show. I don't know if people at home who play regularly feel this way. Is that like you get an RPG, you're like, okay, I've got a lot of games and a lot of shit to do in my life. Let me just get from A to Z. And you forget that sometimes games are like, they put challenges there and they're not really caring if you're just going to get through it quickly. Because you made that comment last week where you're like, let me just play Final Fantasy and get through it real quick so I can get back to Pirate Yakuza. And I was like, if you want to fully savor the game and enjoy it, I'm at 180 hours. You're at 100 and something hours and not yet finished. And I assume you're not doing as much side stuff as I did. Also, I slept with the flu for maybe 30 or 40 of those hours. So, just on my couch.
That's great, though. I'm glad you got them.
I just play, take a nap, and then get back up and just keep playing. And my mom would bring me some soup, that kind of thing. So
sure.
Yeah, but. I love this game. This is my game of the year for 2024. I'm doing some revisionist history here.
Yeah.
And slotting this one at number one.
Well, that's why you left a slot blank, right? Was so you could go back and put it in there.
And I'm look, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite of the base games. I love it. I had some doubts or trepidations about some of the changes. A lot of the feedback I felt like I heard about the Rebirth before having played it was that the story didn't really go anywhere. And also that it was maybe a little not that good or not that exciting. I didn't hear a lot of excitement about it. And I'm like, this is a crime. This game, the story is amazing, first of all. Second of all, I think they handled everything well. That trepidation of I don't know about the whispers, not quite the game. Having played the full thing, I'm very happy and love this, and I'm looking forward to the third installment.
I love the whispers, by the way. Controversial take for people that don't like that they made changes to Final Fantasy VII, I know, but I think I think that was the smartest addition to the series.
Now that I'm at
overall.
the end of it, I had trepidation because of where it was going. Now that I'm at the end of the game, I like them too, and I said this in the bonus show I did about the game. It's also like very myth based. Where like they're not trying to, even though it's like a modern contemporary. It's about capitalism. It's about environmental disaster. It's also about like space lasers and demons and weird shit. So it's still very grounded in myth, even though there's a lot of recognizable things you don't traditionally see in fantasy, like construction workers. and
I mean, one of the main evil factions is the Shinra Electric Company. You know,
right?
what I mean?
Exactly. Like it's. And it works. It's very unique in terms of allegories. And one of the things I was worried about with adding timelines to it or parallel universes or whispery things was this was going to try and explain too much about something that we have yet to have been revealed. And I feel like they're using it in the same way as this weird myth thing that is not well explained and that actually makes everything infinitely more interesting. So being like seeing the full end to end of it, I'm a really big fan of how they're handling things too. So this game is phenomenal. Run, don't walk. Scott, if I had to pick a game for you to just play, you should play this one. I feel bad for people who have like less time to play video games because this is also a long game. Don't be fooled. I was played the first few chapters and be like, I'm going to be done this game in 2 days. So I'm just going to mainline the story. And I've been playing for like, 2 weeks solid. And I'm still going in. I'm like interested in the hard mode. And I have 70 of 88 trophies for the completion checklist. I'm like, I'm this far down the road. I got to get the last 18.
Can I ask, do you need all of them for his stupid chest to open?
Yes.
Oh man!
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man!
And we're going to talk about
chest there. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
This game is not without its deserved criticisms, which we'll get to in just a second. I have a feeling. But this game is it's a phenomenal experience. I love Final Fantasy VII. I love how much love they poured into this game. Metaphor must be a really good video game for this to have not won RPG of the Year at the Video Game Awards. So I'm not going to doubt because we had some big fans of that game here, and I'm sure it's great. And I played a little bit and thought well of it. But I just love Final Fantasy VII, and it's like a wet dream to have one of your like favorite things just get such a generous like coat of paint, glorious new treatment. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much. I'm probably going back to replay Final Fantasy VII Remake after this. Screw the other games. I want to play. I just want more Final Fantasy.
Well, you also have to play Interlude, right? Because did you not?
And I do have to play Interlude, but I kind of want to go back and play the original. I love Barrett so much. I love all the characters so much. Like they're my own.
Barrett
family.
is done so well in this game. And it got me. Like Barrett is responsible. So this game has gotten me emotional a couple times. Beau said in his bonus thing that it was seeing a picture of Jesse in the golden saucer that got him.
Yeah. I was tearing up when I saw Jesse. I was blubbering I was like.
It was a similar moment for me. Maybe slight spoilers here, but like, when you watch the play at the Golden Saucer and you see Jessie acting out her part in your VR goggles or whatever, they do a quick pan. I'm sure you notice it's not like they hide it, but they do a quick pan of the audience, and you can see that Barrett was in the audience watching it. And he has his glasses off, and he's holding his eyes shaking, and you can tell he was crying watching Jesse perform.
Oh.
And I was like, that got me. You got your big, tough guy, Barrett, that like unshakable most of the time. Even when he goes through some stuff. I mean, he has his moment too, but like that's a direct moment with him, and him sitting there in the crowd crying over seeing his fallen friend. I was like, oh man, this is tough stuff. Yeah. This is big stuff. That performance scene, I don't want to call it an opera. Parts of it were opera, but it was, the show Loveless was one of the best parts in a video game that I've seen in a long time. Very memorable. Running the gamut of emotions of like, real emotional because it's involving characters that aren't around anymore. Really funny because you get friggin', I think Scott said it perfectly. He looks like an infected Magneto Barrett as a bad guy, and Red 13 all painted evil with fire coming out of his mouth.
Yeah. There's some variation in it. You can get, apparently Kate Sith, I think, is instead of Red as one of the people that you're antagonists with. And
really?
And Tifa was like your princess, and I had Aerith as the princess in the play. So they've like scripted out multiple variations of this crazy long like mini game / opera performance / like awesome anime combat TV show that they put in the game. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Because for me, Kate Sith was a jester. He narrated the whole thing.
Yeah, he did narrate the whole thing, but I think there's an evil Kate Sith. I heard. I don't know, because now that I've finished, I've been looking up variations. Because importantly, I shared this with you. I didn't want to share it with you. I want to save it for the show, but I share. John already knows, but chat wants to know. But who did you go on a date with? So there's 2 dates. There's the preliminary Chapter 8 date, and there's a Chapter 12 serious date. On my preliminary date, it was Aerith. Me and Aerith hung out in the Gold Saucer. And then when I already kind of knew ahead of time that the serious date was coming for Chapter 12.
Yeah, they do give you a little bit of a warning.
Yeah.
They don't spring it on you.
Yeah, so I get to knock on my door, and I'm like, oh man, is it going to be Tifa? Is it going to be Aerith? Which of the 2 have I formed the closest companionship with? I open the door, and it's fucking Barrett. And he's like, hey man, I got 2 tickets to the opera. Do you want to hang out? And I was like, really? And then I had this moment where I went in the tank, and I'm like, all right, how far back do I got to replay to fix like my relationship meter? But it doesn't tell you these things. Once you finish the game, you get to see what your scorecard is with all the relationship stuff. But you don't get to see it in your first playthrough. And I'm like, how far back do I got to go? And I'm like, no, you know what? This is my playthrough. This is how it happened. I was completionist as shit. And I guess I formed the strongest bond with Barrett. I'm going on a date with Barrett.
That's
what happened.
Was he wearing his little soldier or his little sailor outfit, or do you that?
No, he's just wearing his normal outfit. But you go to the opera as part of the date. Everyone goes to the opera no matter what. But I'm going, with him.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then you do in the original game. There's a date in the Ferris wheel that can happen, and so they have that in this remake.
So what does he do in the Ferris wheel? I'm assuming he doesn't kiss you.
It's awkward. Like we're both kind of just silent, and then he like wants to gossip with you. He's like, "So who do you like?" And Cloud is of course, Cloud is of course, like, what are you talking? Because he's just
Cloud.
Cloud is just he's kind of a shell of a man, right? There's like lore reasons why he's the way he is, but he's definitely, not interested in dishing, or he's being kind of, purposely coy about it, not responsive. And then so Barrett gets all emotional and touching and being like, listen, if you love someone, tell them, don't wait, you'll regret it. He's giving you that kind of a speech where he's just like trying to give advice. And then there's a comedic moment where Cloud finally sort of cracks and makes a joke or whatever. And that's about it. But it's like friends hanging out, having a heart-to-heart kind of thing. It's not, we didn't bang or anything.
That's good to hear. I'm very glad to hear that you didn't bang with Barrett.
But it's great. So your date? John said his date was Tifa.
I got Tifa both times.
Okay.
So, but yeah, was this intentional, or was this just where the dice laid?
I mean, I didn't go out of my way to seek it out, but Tifa is, my favorite character from 7, so it makes sense that she's been in my party. I actually think, in terms of characters to play, I think Cloud, Tifa, and Yuffie are the most fun to play. So she's always in my party as someone to play. And so Tifa was always around. So yeah, it was a double date with Tifa, and it was good.
All right. And I was mentioning Yuffie too. That's also a high point, because Yuffie's a character I gave 0 shits about in the original game. Like, I just felt like this was an extra character. I mean, she had like a story and stuff, but I don't have memory of like, oh yeah, Yuffie. You know, it's just like, okay, there's a ninja character, whatever. Never in my party. You know, who cares? I think she's my favorite character in the game. In this one.
Really?
Yeah, because she's just, everyone's like, oh, I'm so sad. And she's like, let's go hunt materia, guys. and then something happens and she's like, oh shit. Like, she's constantly a source of like agitation or like energy, I guess, because she is young. So she's portrayed as being, you know, having a little more energy than Grandpa Barrett or whatever. Like, I like all the characters and stuff, but it's just, she's like, just fun, has fun personality and fun reaction to things. And she's actually really awesome to play. Like, her character never shuts up. Like, they all have lines they say, like when Cloud gets hit, he'll go, "Oh shit," you know, or when he summons someone. Cloud has like the lamest summoning lines when he's summoning. He's like, "Let's play." I'm like, come on, man, you can do better than that. Or no, he says, "Have fun." He says something that's like literally his line when he summons. But Yuffie's just like, oh my god, here we go, let's go. Okay, oh, now there's more Yuffie. One thing we need more in this fight is more Yuffies. And he's like, and take this, and take that. And she just like never shuts up when you're in control of her. And it's a vibe I like. I'm just like, she's a lot of fun.
I still think, though, even though his one-liners are usually pretty bad, I think Cloud is well written. I think maybe
yes, of course
he's responsible for maybe my biggest laugh out loud moment in this. Was because Cloud doesn't talk much. Like, he's almost a silent protagonist.
Just about.
Almost.
Yeah.
He does not talk often. But when I did the Don Corneo fight, and it ends and he lands in front of Cloud, and Cloud, who very rarely says anything, just sticks his sword between Don Corneo's legs and goes, "So, we chopping him off?"
Yeah. He sometimes when he hits, he really hits for sure. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that was so perfect. I was not expecting him to threaten to castrate Don Corneo, but he was ready for it.
Yeah, no, he's great. But there's like lore. It's not just that he's just like that's his personality. There's lore reasons why he's like what he's like, and they finally start to get into it in the second one. I'm sure all will be revealed if you don't know in the third one. But if it isn't already abundantly clear from the experience in 2, but, you know, in the opening act when they're recounting their experience in Nibelheim with Sephiroth before he turned heel, you know, Tifa mentions, like, listen, that story Cloud told, Cloud wasn't there at all. Why does he remember something from 5 years ago that he was not a part of at all? You know, so there's shit going on with him that makes him not know himself and not know what to say because of, you know, his connection to Mako and Sephiroth. And
how long do you think you guys are going to have to wait for this third one, if you had to guess?
I don't know, probably a while, but I don't know. Let me see.
I would say hopeful. If it releases quick, I would say we get it late 2026 for at least PlayStation.
All right, January 23, 2025, IGN. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 has a completed story at Square Enix.
Okay, that means they're probably
very satisfied
pretty
with
far
the
along.
story. So they're probably still working on it, but, you know,
it took 4 years to go from remake to Rebirth.
Shit.
And so I think that was also a console generation jump.
Yeah, for sure.
I think now they've had 2 games under their belt. They're in the home stretch. There's not as much to figure out, probably. Like, I feel like it's probably a little bit easier to figure out what to do for the last chunk of the game than it was. This chunk of the game seems particularly tricky on how you navigate it based on what it is in the original. So I think they don't have to do a generational jump in theory. And they probably have a better idea of what they're doing. They apparently have the rough structure of what the game is going to be laid out. So I think they could probably do it in 3 years instead of 4. And so I'm going to say 2026 late.
Yeah. The article says they're aiming for 2027 that I was reading.
Oh, if they're aiming for 2027, then I'm probably being a little too
But I mean, you know, whatever. That's still pretty good considering, you know, that's 2024 to 2027 is only 3 years. but they know they've been making them. So I don't know what their roadmap looks like, but hopefully it's not like they have to sit in a few years of like ideation or whatever. Like, this game was fantastic. It did get nominated, even though it didn't win because of Metaphor, but it still was like highly regarded. So they don't have anything that they got to work on in terms of like, our game really sucked and we got to fix it or something. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's fundamentally very good. They just got to work on, the actual game. And, if it helps, guys, don't need as many mini games, maybe, or just use the ones you made and don't spend any time
about
on those.
50% of the mini games.
Because now we're going to get to the weak part of the game, which is for two major critiques. One is, it's basically a Yakuza game. This is what my bonus show is about. You alluded to it last week. In that, in Yakuza games, a lot of your like power points are unlocked for your character by doing things in the completion checklist. It depends on which Yakuza it is, but like an RPG is usually like, oh, there's a rare, like even Final Fantasy VII is like, do you want to find a rare materia where there's a dungeon or a place that's optional, that's not part of the main story, where you go and hunt these things. That's like the exploration and hunting in an RPG is what makes it fun. This game gives you Chadley. And Chadley's like, I need intel. And he's like, why don't you go and check 4 locations for monsters and 4 locations for proto relics and 4 locations for the... So there's no surprise. There's no exploration. It's checklist gameplay. It's not ideal. I'll still take it. I still love the game very much, but it is definitely... Baldur's Gate isn't like, oh, you should check the old lady's house. She might be a hag. Go check for hag intel. It just has a game world and you stumble on it or you don't, right? And so that would be obviously preferable for an RPG, and no different here.
Yeah,
So
I will kind of echo an agreement on that. I don't mind the structure of it, but I do think you're 100% right when you say that like everything got a little too expected, and I think it's to the game's detriment, because if it was always the same parsing of content, it wouldn't have been that bad. But they changed the flow up a lot. So in the beginning, it's like story, city hub, open world, story, city hub, open world. That all kind of worked for like the first 2 zones, but then they start doing open world. Now go back to the other open world. Now go here. And all of a sudden it felt like I was bombarded with stuff. Mm-hmm. And if like the fact that it's always 4 events for proto relics, it's always this many battles leading to a new battle, it's always this many crystals you got to scan, it's the same in every single zone. If they had scaled those down a little bit based on, oh, you know what, you've been doing a lot of this based on the structure and flow of the story, instead of 4 proto relics, you're just going to do 2. Right. Or you're just going to do 1, or you're going to do something else. Like, it would have made the game, I feel, stronger. I feel like the fact that they tied themselves to every exploration zone is going to have the exact same variation of things in the exact same quantity was a real detriment to the game overall. They should have felt more willing to play with the number and play with what you did.
Yeah, some variety would be good. Absolutely. I agree. Even just in the activities, like scanning materia crystal, like it's just such, I don't know. It's stuff that I expect from a Yakuza game, and it's reasons why Yakuza is never going to be like, even though I love them, they're never going to be top tier games. So I don't know why they went that route with it. I don't know. And on that note, tying very directly to the same critique is, holy shit! They went so hard on mini games. It is psychotic. It's a full on Yakuza. There's more mini games here than a Yakuza game, and I don't understand.
Can you
I understand Gold Saucer's a casino, has a bunch of games. I'm not mad about that part. Actually, it's cool that there's like a bunch of mini games in there. Makes sense.
Yeah,
but it's like a quarter of the total sum mini games in the game, actually, which which is crazy. I think there's a total of 20 to 25 mini games in the game.
Do you think that the game? So you say you've beaten the main story. Do I have to do any of that shit? Those mini games?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Some of
Now,
them, yeah. Some of them come up.
You don't
over the
have to
course
do
of
them
it.
to S tier, right? You don't have to like master them. Although there is that, like Chocobo Racing, there are 18 tracks.
I do not care at all.
And there's a tournament mode that's the Gold Cup.
That.
And you might care a little bit because some of these events have pretty sweet materia or pretty sweet gear behind them. So you may look at what stuff that's there and go like, maybe I want that, you know?
Yeah,
So it depends.
Yeah.
Again, I'd rather that stuff.
But there is
content,
at least
but,
one mandatory chocobo race. Like if you were just mainlining the game, you're doing at least one chocobo race.
And if you want like to do proto relics, there's at least 2 or 3 of them that have mini games associated. Like you will not avoid mini games unless you literally do nothing but the main story. But then I'd recommend putting on easy because you're missing out on like gear and stuff.
Right.
So
right.
you're not and like a certain amount of it's fine. I think Chocobo Racing's actually fun. I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah, Chocobo Racing is good.
It wasn't unpleasant. I actually really like Chocobo Racing. Some of the other ones, Queen's Blood is fun.
Queen's Blood is awesome. I love Queen's Blood.
Queen's Blood is like enjoyable. I like that they put a Gwent thing. It's a fun little distraction. I appreciate it a lot. It's fine. I can't even think of them all.
A lot of them, I mean, a lot of them are decent. A lot of them, and some of them are, feel more optional than others. Like I remember I was checking out the trophy case, and it's like, did you max out your dolphin riding? And I was like, I didn't even do. Besides the one time you have to do it for the story, like I didn't know that was a mini game. So I went and found it.
You can go back and do a dolphin.
You know what? The dolphin riding was fun, but it wasn't. It wasn't called out. It wasn't insanely important. So some of them are definitely more important than others. There's some real losers though, and there's some things that just didn't need to be a mini game. Like I think it's a side quest. I don't think it's a main quest, but there's a side quest where they're like, like a lot of quests in video games, go pick 3 mushrooms. But for some reason they decided that picking the mushroom needed to be a little like mini game. And it really didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that one. Picking the mushroom mini game.
Yeah,
I would have just press X to pick up mushroom. Thanks. Like I've had so many mini games.
Yeah, you're not hurting for mini games
out of picking mushrooms, and yet I failed at picking a mushroom because I didn't pick it correctly.
it just didn't need to be there. Like if you sit down and look at the list, you could look at the list and go, doesn't need to be it. Doesn't need to be it. I know Beau loves it. I hate it. Like the piano, I think is cool that it's there.
That's only going to be good.
I hate the mini games.
It's only going to be good depending on how musically inclined you are, and also the way they do it is not the best because your eyes have to be in 2 places.
Yeah, also using analog sticks for your inputs. It's
not the best.
I'm not good at it. Half the time it goes to the wrong spot.
Some of the songs are good. Like Tifa's theme's fine. It's that 2 legs that ain't it, or this like crazy upbeat one that you get later on that like I did like 50 times to try and get an A rank.
Yeah. But I think it's cool that a piano minigame is in there. I think it's neat that it's there, but I don't need it. So there's right. Nagul in the chat says, I hated the one where you have to lure chickens with a can of chicken feed. Yep.
Yeah, that one was terrible.
That was another that was another one that didn't.
It's a side quest so it's like if you want to do all the side quests, you got to do that one.
If the side quest is if the minigame's tied to a side quest, it could have been cut. I do appreciate that for the last one where they send you ridiculously far and you're like, are they really going to make me drag the stupid chicken this far across the map, that they then come up with a story reason for it to not require that? But oh my gosh, like it is too many mini games. I don't mind the existence of mini games, again, especially in the context of the Golden Saucer. I think the Golden Saucer is the perfect place for it. It makes sense that they're there. but there are too many mini games in this game, and I feel like they could have cut a lot of the bad ones, and it would have made a lot of the others that are mixed in more stomachable.
Yeah. All right. Not deal breakers, but sounds like there's.
Well, you'll have to try them out because it's definitely like it was good that I was sick because being sick, I had a lot more patience just to sit around and brute force my way through some of them. Had I been in a different frame of mind, I don't know. I definitely would be like.
I mean, a lot of them I essentially S ranked on my first try.
Yeah.
Some of them are nice. They set the difficulty in a real reasonable spot, but then other ones, it's like, whoa. Why is this so hard? Why did you decide to go so hard on this? Like, we talked about crunches where the final stage of crunches, you basically have to perform perfectly. It's like, why is that the bar? Yeah. Why is that the bar? It shouldn't be that much. Who cares? Like, it's just doing some crunches. It's a little optional mini game. Perfection should not be what we're asking of the audience to get through this.
Yeah.
So it's just really, it's kind of weird. And I've cheesed a lot of the mini games. Like the 3D fighter one can be super cheesed because you can pause it. You can pause.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah,
I have a hard time reading. They didn't do a good job of making the enemies readable. Scott, basically, it's basically like this turn-based, not turn-based, but like the enemy will do either jab.
It's a very rudimentary punch out.
Or an uppercut, and it might be left or right hand, and you got to block with the appropriate control. You have to press the correct control. You press the wrong one, and you fail.
That does sound like sounds like Punch Out to me. For sure.
They're so blocky, and the way the angle is just sometimes I can't tell. Mainly, I can't tell the jab from the swing, like the hook. The uppercuts are pretty easy to tell. So I'm just like, it's.
But for anybody struggling, you can totally cheat this because they only take an action after the meter fills up. You know when they're going to take an action. And then you just pause it while they're in the middle of their swing, and you can sit there and go, does this look like a jab or an uppercut?
I'm going to totally use it.
And then you press the button, unpause it, and you'll do it.
That's great.
I've done them all normally. I'm at the last one, which is Sephiroth, and he's insane.
I would imagine.
He does a lot of damage, so like 3 hits and you're out. Like you got to like ace him, but also he has all the moves.
He's a peck. He's Sephiroth for a reason. He's a butthole, that guy.
Yeah. So I was able to cheese that. The game broke on Chocobo Racing for the Gold Cup. So there's actually a side mission involving Chocobo Racing where you have to win a thing called the Gold Cup. And there's a Chocobo in particular called Hyperion that is basically a shoe-in to win. And like you have to work real hard if you're going to beat Hyperion. Hyperion's always going to do well.
This is kind of a prequel to StarCraft.
And I won the first race. After a couple tries, I was like, all right, I got this race down enough. I can beat Hyperion. Then I won the second race after a couple tries. And then on the third race, Hyperion crashed into a wall.
Oh, shit.
And could not get out of the wall. And Hyperion, the almost guaranteed to get first place every race Chocobo, got last place, 4th overall for the tournament because he got stuck on a stupid wall. And I was like, I'll take it. That's fine. I'm not gonna argue that I got it on my first try because he got stuck in the geometry. A win's a win.
I love this game uses the painted shelving. I'm looking at the scene where he's climbing, and I just love the yellow paint.
All climbable ledges are yellow in this game.
It's so funny. Every game doing it now. It's just funny to me. I know some people get mad about it. I just think it's great. Freaking more yellow paint. Just to piss off the haters.
This game goes full on with that kind of stuff because, like, you'll see those blue arrows are the only traversable entry points to, weird. Yeah, there's a lot of that in this game. It's not why we're here.
No.
The Assassin's Creed gameplay is not why you buy Final Fantasy.
No, it is not. I wouldn't think. All right. Well, it sounds like this game's rad. What else?
Fantastic. It's fun. It's fun. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to play the first one.
John, would you, if it was last year, would you flip your game of the year or no?
I probably would still give it to Metaphor, but this would be probably an easy number 2 for me. What did I give my number 2? I mean, to me, I would have a hard time picking between this and Metaphor, so to me that immediately says that it would probably take the number 2 spot.
I can't remember what 2 was.
Here's my list. I'm there. I'm on the tab.
Okay.
So my number 1 was Metaphor Fantasio. My number 2 was Wild Bastards. Yeah, this would push Wild Bastards down. This would have been my number 2.
Still high praise for Wild Bastards being on their top 3. You know, that's great. I need to play it. I have it. I just gotta push play. It's installed. It's on the drive. It's just sitting there. But the minute I hit it, I'm gonna be like, the last couple of weeks have been so bad. I've actually been afraid to get sucked into something.
Yeah, but, like I said, I really had some false starts with it, and it took a little while before I really was like, I am into this game, you know. So
yeah, it's a sign of a good game.
Just because it's like this dead zone between the end of Remake and Rebirth, and it just took a little while, you know. But then, like once I'm hooked, I'm like, this is the only game I want to play. All of the games have faded into the darkness for a while. So.
Well, when people say why will we be celebrating 4 years from now, what will we celebrate? And it will be the coming of the third game in the trifecta.
I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Even before I finished Rebirth, I'm excited for it.
The only thing I'm fearful of is just please less mini games. Thank you.
I have a feeling you're going to get
zero mini games. There's no need for them.
No, I'm not going to go that far. Beau's crazy. He's gone too far.
Maybe
he's pushed it too far.
Maybe the feedback has been received and they just won't have so much, you know. You might get your wish.
I don't know if that was a lot of feedback. I think there's people who really like that because part of it is it does like give characters excuse to have like dialogue and get to know them when they're, you know, when there's quests related to it. So it's not a terrible thing. It's just I've had my fill. I think that's what I'm saying. I'm just like,
yeah, you've had.
I think I need less. To me, if I could say where I actually wish this would be, because I don't think it should be no mini games. Even if you say, well, you're not going to the Golden Saucer, I still think mini games have their place in this. I actually think mini games as part of quests is good, and I think that's a good place to put them. But either don't make them insane skill challenges unless it's part of what you're doing for the core mechanics. Like I think like a really tough boss as a game is fine. Because that's the game, right? You're playing the game.
Sure.
But I think like, how good are you at frog jumping? Like, it doesn't need to be multi-tiers. Like, put it in as part of the quest. Like, for this quest, you know, you're a frog and you got to jump well. And don't make it like, well, you got to earn super bonus rewards. Just make it a part of the quest. Is like, well, this was a dumb thing I did instead of a combat, right? Like, it was an alternative to a combat.
I think
those things are fine.
I think there will be lots more mini games because the third installment is. So one of the things I didn't say that I'm going to say now because I skipped over it was one was very much the classic corridor Final Fantasy game, like because you're in Midgard, a lot of the sections are fairly linear, just backtracking along the corridor and doing that. This game is open compared to that game.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't call it fully like classic Final Fantasy where you can go anywhere on the planet, but they are zones and they are explorable and you can go back and forth between them. You get a buggy, you have chocobos you can ride around, you get a boat. There's usually a boat phase in a Final Fantasy, so there's nods to it. It's not like robust or anything, but you get a boat, you get a buggy. And I with that article I was reading too, they were talking about they would like to give, you do end up with the high wind. You do end up with the airship. The third one's going to be airship time. So that sort of implies that we're going to have free reign throughout the globe. And I'm going to go ahead and guess it's not the last we've seen of the Gold Saucer or Junon or even there should be a point where we go back to Midgar as well for like a retaliatory assault of some kind. Who knows? But I think it will. We will, like, all of these games will be back, and all these locations may in fact be back as well. So
I think there's one we can guarantee, unless it's coming up in one of the 2 chapters I haven't done. But I believe we're due snowboarding.
Does that happen, Beau?
Should I rip that Band-Aid off?
Is it in this game?
No snowboarding in this game.
Oh, it's coming in the next one then.
Okay, well, then snowboarding is bound to happen.
There is a teaser because in Wonderment Square, there is a closed-off section that shows the Kate Sith robot, I don't know what he's called, on a snowboard with a snowboard wonderland behind him. So there's definitely gonna be mini games in the next one. We're getting snowboarding.
Yeah, snowboarding is due. That is a 1-to-1 from the original game.
Is it good snowboarding though? Quality snowboarding?
No, it wasn't. It might be.
It might be now because Chocobo Racing was kind of bad in the old game too, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing good about any of the mini games in the first.
No, the gold saucer in the original, like, look, people can be nostalgic for it all they want. The original gold saucer was not fun.
Yeah, I've heard that. Never got that far. That game and I famously got to 1 disc, and that's it. All right, well, we'll see what happens. 4 years, baby. 3.5, whatever it takes.
I can't wait for the last installment. Maybe a 4th installment. Because it's doing well for them.
Maybe as soon as
we get Classic Plus.
I mean, isn't this and the MMO?
Classic Plus.
This and the MMO are basically their 2 big hits right now, right?
Well, there's been lots of rumors of a 9 remake that has continued to be a constant
Would be interested in
reference. I think 9 has a lot of potential as a remake. Because
didn't they say they were going to do 13, or am I? That's maybe a dream I had. I thought 13 was the one.
13 got up-resed. I know that, but I don't think it's the same as a remake treatment.
Yeah, but they're talking remake treatment for 9, not remaster.
Because 7, like, we had the HD remasters from 1 through 6. 7 got the full blown "We Love You" treatment.
Yeah.
8 just got a remaster. 10 got a remaster. So 9, I think, has not been touched, right?
9's fantasy again, right? If I remember right, or fantasy.
Yeah,
focused?
it does go back to fantasy, kind of a steampunky fantasy, but fantasy.
Yeah, I like the look of that game.
I think, look, again, I have become a convert to 7 on the back of remake. Like, I love 7, but I think 9, for my money, has the best cast of characters, the most interesting, diverse cast. I think it has amazing potential. As somebody who had to very recently play through 9 twice, I think the only things that 9 suffers in is its combat gameplay is not very good. Its gameplay systems are a little simplistic and could be reworked. The way limit breaks work was really stupid, and the ending could be retooled a little bit. They do those things. 9 is a recipe for the greatest Final Fantasy ever made.
Good Lord, that's high praise for a thing that I barely touched back in the day.
And there's a lot of evidence that they might be doing it. Yoshi P keeps saying he wants it to happen. He's been like the biggest proponent of it.
That's definitely happening.
A lot of people got very conspiratorial because the bonus stuff for this and for the Endwalker expansion were like references to Final Fantasy IX. The storyline for Endwalker has references to Final Fantasy IX in it. You go to the Kingdom of Alexandria. Probably should have said spoilers on that. But
it's an old game.
Anyway, I
love the look of this game.
He clearly cares about it. Yeah, the look is amazing.
Yeah, even the old, like the original PlayStation screens, the city is so lush and insane. Like that's very intriguing as a backdrop for all this. So
yeah, I think 9 has a lot of potential. I really hope they remake it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it sounds if Yoshi P's into it, maybe they'll do both. Who knows? Yoshi P, because this isn't Yoshi P doing 7. So maybe that team will go to 13 because that seems like the closest analog in terms of vibe.
Yeah.
And then Yoshi P will do 9.
Feels like Yoshi's got pull.
I like 13 a lot too.
Like
13 is like my second favorite of the games.
He gets the suits to do shit, and that's good.
He used to be on the board. Actually, that was some news from this week. Is he has stepped down from the board of directors.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What was there any reasons outside of just didn't want to do it anymore?
We don't know if he was asked or if he opted to. He's been pretty vocal that he has said, like, I don't like sitting in meetings on the board. I would rather be making video games. So he's been pretty vocal about not liking that position. So it could be he just was like, hey, I'm going to go do something else.
Good for him.
Like he said, my interest is making video games, not sitting on a board. So
hey, that aligns with my interest. My interest is him also making video games.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's great. All right. Well, more on that soon. Beau, it says here you played a little Magic Arena.
Yeah, that's just ongoing. I've been drafted in Aether Drift.
Look at you.
And it's fun. I talked about it mainly at length, but I've been playing
at it.
I've been playing.
Yeah.
Because Final Fantasy Magic coming in a few months.
Yeah, that's right.
In June.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my sea legs back so I can remember how to my draft strategies and stuff. And I like the Aether Drift set, but it's I think it's funny. I think 2025 is going to be a Magic the Gathering year for me. I'm just kind of feeling it right now. I don't know why. It's just,
for realsies with the cards too, or just digital, do you think?
I've been looking at going to a local draft. I got sick. I was actually thinking about, I'm like, oh, let me go see if there's this, what's going on in Ottawa. Are people playing? There's a few stores that have events, but who knows? It could be 2 people showing up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, it'd be fun. I'm like, so I'm looking into it, but I got sick and I don't want to give anyone my sickness. Like I said in the pre-show, just stay home.
Yeah. Stay home. Quit.
So I'm like, whatever. I play on Arena for a bit. I've been doing drafting there, but it would be fun to, I don't know. Like, it's good times, and it's been long enough. And I know people are mad at Wizards 24/7, but setting that aside, it is kind of fun to play, shuffle up and play some cards with people. So
it would be nice if you could get 8 billion people to sit still during the early part of a pandemic so that it didn't spread, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It took was 12 hours or something. 12 hours of everyone just sit down.
Oh, if right at ground zero, we're just like, listen, there's a pandemic. It's going to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Just lock yourself in the house for 12 hours.
Yeah,
just
that's
12
it.
hours.
And I know some people don't have houses, and I know some people are in different situations. And if you're in India, it's
go
totally
to a forest clearing, have a picnic for 12 hours, or sit under a bridge for 12 hours.
Yeah. Right. Or if you can't manage that, close all the airports for 24
But my
hours.
freedom, what is this? Communism? It's my right to die in a pandemic. Sorry.
That's all right.
I don't know why I use that accent.
I don't know why either. I like it, though. Good job. Okay. I think you guys have the right to do that right now. You should make as much fun of us as you can. Okay. Moving on down the road. Oh, we have an email. We actually have a little bit of feedback across the board.
That's a good question.
Let's start with this one. This is an email from a listener named Bill. No, I'm sorry. I almost said Bill Pullman, the actor. It's just Pullman. Or no, it's Dwayne Games. It's Dwayne Games. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
He's from Pullman, Washington. The guy's name is Dwayne Games.
Oh, you almost called him Pullman?
The author of this letter's name is Pullman, Washington.
Pullman, Washington. He's from the city of Dwayne Games. Anyway.
It's not Washington. It's Pullman Wah. That sounds like
Wah.
Pullman Wah. He's Wario. Anyway, he says, well, that'd be more Waluigi, wouldn't it? Anyway, doesn't matter. Dear Chairman of the Core Board, sometimes I want to talk to you more about Nintendo, or I want you to talk more about Nintendo games, but you get so much wrong when you do. I'm content with you keeping the Nintendo talk to a minimum. Thanks for keeping me informed on VR, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam, says Dwayne. Well, Dwayne, I need examples, first of all. I think
I am a little curious because I was like, what did we say that generated this? And I started going back. I was like, when's the last time we talked about Nintendo?
It's been a bit, but we've talked about the Switch too.
The last time I talked about Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past in a Dear Martha, but I don't think that would have generated it.
No.
So I don't know. I do wish he had come with examples because it did immediately make me curious on what we were so wrong about.
I agree.
I believe them.
I don't know if I believe him. I don't know if I believe him.
I believe that there's a chance. Look,
the three of us know shit. We know shit.
I've been on this show a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I know that we don't get everything right all the time.
But he says so much wrong.
But I am curious what we've gotten wrong.
Yeah.
But I think there's too much that like you're not just going to get one example. Like this seems like a laundry list.
Yeah, that's what I need to know.
When somebody says Mario.
That's a stab at Beau. No fair. Look, I think
why can't I call him Mario?
You
like,
can.
geez.
You can call him anything you want to call him. Everyone here thinks it's
I don't
Mario.
mean to. It just comes out that way.
It's whatever you call him. It's fine. I don't think Mario or Mario care. Here's what I was going to say, though. I think we're all three of us born and bred Nintendo people. We know our stuff. Now, if you're talking about we got something about specs on the Switch 2 wrong, or I need examples. That's what I need. Because I know a lot of Nintendo shit.
Right? I don't like, apart from the pronunciation thing, which, like, yeah, sure, technically it's wrong. Whatever. It's not like I have an ego about that, but it's just, yes. What do we get wrong?
Yeah,
like
bring it.
Screen size. It's not OLED. It's OLUD.
OLED.
Are we saying the wrong buttons like XAB instead of BXA or whatever? Like,
the old OLED screens.
What are we actually getting wrong about it? It's true.
Yeah. So please let me know, because we're about to talk a lot more about Nintendo when that Switch 2 comes out, because I'm getting one.
And it's not even like to challenge it, because like, I don't know, I talk so little about it. For me, it's probably true, but I'm just like legit curious, So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Although I think there's some indignation from the rest of the panel. So receipts, please.
That, by the way, came to us via email, talktothecore@gmail.com. If you want to read this text I'm about to read, or hear this text, it came to us at the 10 Hams line, because 10 Hams now supports texts and calls. Yeah, that's right. You can do voice calls and texts, and that's the new 10hams.com. It'll take you straight to voicecast.app. But
10 Hams.
10 Hams. Either the number 10 or spell it. Doesn't matter. Two people own the
More
domains.
Than 9 Hams.
Everybody owns a 10 Hams domain. They're all being forwarded to the line. And we got this call from a listener. This is from Greasy Pig, I think. Here it is.
Counts, but I had 10 pieces of ham on 12 pizzas in the past 30 days. I'm feeling a bit swiney.
Okay, so that's a greasy. That's greasy
yeah,
pig.
that's good.
Yeah,
they're making good use of it.
Thanks for sharing, bro. We want your messages. That's awesome.
Yeah, although your speakerphone kind of blows, but it's okay. It's fine. We'll still take them. We'll take them however you send them. Yeah, we don't care. I'm not gonna nitpick about this stuff. We also get text there, and like I said, we got this one from Daniel. This is hot take from Daniel. Character creators for single player games ruins good storytelling. John, hold on 1 second. Don't freak out yet. Okay.
You knew I was going to have a lot to say about
I know,
this.
and I want to hear it.
I'll wait. Let's hear the whole point.
All right, let's hear the entire
when
point.
I tell them how wrong they are, I can tell them how their whole point is wrong instead of just the first bit.
Listen, John, when he looks at how long to beat, he adds 2.5 hours to whatever the long time is for that's how long he'll be in the character creator.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Character creators for single-player games ruins good storytelling. I reiterate, he says, we wouldn't have such great characters and the stories that they were involved in. Examples, Geralt, Cloud, Solid Snake, etc. These are characters you don't create. They are just there for you. Seems like any game that has a creator equals you are the chosen one, but the world has more life than you do. That's a fair point. When it comes to the creator... Go ahead, Beau.
Be from Cyberpunk. You make your character.
That's true. Yeah, you have some... Yeah, you know what?
You're not the center of the universe.
That's a
we're getting to it.
We're getting to it.
Hold on.
Beau makes That's a really good point. We're gonna have to come back to that. Anyway, when it comes, there's the final paragraph. When it comes to the creator, I just hit random 2 or 3 times and let it roll into the story. Wasting time adjusting nose pitch and cheek height sounds dreadful. John. Response.
Oh, Daniel's in the chat. I think he's already
in the chat. Daniel's already trying to defend himself even before we've poked.
I think my V attack was highly effective.
I mean, like they're the examples that he gives. Geralt, Cloud, Solid Snake, all are good characters. Sure. But he didn't say that. You can't tell a good character-based story in a video game where you create a character. He said good storytelling. And there are plenty of video games with great stories where you create a character from scratch. There are absolutely exceptions. There are plenty of exceptions. V, Commander Shepard is another very good, prominent one.
Yep.
I would say whichever character you made in Dragon Age Oranges. That story, still very, very good. And you can put a lot of character on your character. Being able to create a character does shift the storytelling slightly. So you're not going to usually look at it as like, to me, the calling V an exception isn't an exception to a good story in video gaming for a character you created. It's a good exception of a character-based story where you create the character. Because I would agree with Daniel to a degree that it is very difficult to create a compelling character-based narrative in a video game where you make a character, because your character is usually going to be a little more blank slate. But you could even say the original Final Fantasy, you make 4 characters, was known for being a good story. Granted, that bar has moved since the NES days. It was fine. Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14, all good stories.
Yeah.
All custom characters. Yeah. There's plenty of them, but the storytelling is usually broader. You're not gonna finish a game and go, oh my gosh, the pathos of Jambalaya Smith, my created character, was so strong.
Jambalaya Smith.
It doesn't happen very often. But that doesn't mean that you can discount and say, well, this is going to have a garbage story because I created the character.
That name.
He has correctly identified that if you're telling a story with a bespoke, I hate that word, but
I do too. I don't love it either.
Bespoke character, that yes, they can't write every permutation just to satisfy. It's the way they have to tell the story has to take into account a lot of different possibilities of what you've done. Like Baldur's Gate 3, you make your own character. You are saving the world with your character. But yeah, your character, even though it makes a lot of choices and stuff, you don't find out their tics or have much of a personality really. But that's you interfacing with the rest of the world. That's by design, that everything else is more interesting than you, because what you're getting out of it is like creativity and flexibility about your expression in interacting with the world, where you don't get any of that when you play Cloud. You have to be a dumbass that doesn't talk or handles women poorly when you're like,
it's weird around girls.
Yeah, I want to be a Casanova like in Final Fantasy. Look at these hot ladies. Let me date them every night, baby. I'll even date Barrett too. He's a hot man. But no, you got to play Cloud, and he's got to be like, huh? It's not even different strokes for different folks. It's just like different storytelling devices.
Yeah.
And so
it would be really weird if Cloud went and butchered all of the druids in the Druid Grove. You'd be like, he can't do this. This is bad storytelling, because he's a character that is established. He's not a place where you put your own characteristics and storytelling and inject it into the character.
Yeah.
So it's not like an either or. I will say, I think everyone here agrees that like whether it's a bespoke character or a pre-made character, the type of games that are made where a committee sits down and says, if a player's going to be interested in this game, we have to make them feel rewarded. Players love power. Let's give them a power fantasy. Let's make sure every NPC, as soon as he does something awesome, like sucks him off for like 10 hours or whatever, like we don't need any of that. You know what I mean? When they're like trying to make you feel good, they're like, "Oh, you saved the kingdom! It's so amazing. We couldn't have done this without you."
You could have said,
that kind of thing.
butter is bread for an hour, or beef up his.
Sorry, was it too crass?
No, it just hit me. It was just like, oh, suck him off for what? How long?
I've been watching too much Jon Stewart.
Okay.
But yes, I'm just the crassness. That's probably where it came from. But you know what I mean? like where the character with some people are not a fan of that type of gameplay where whatever character you're in, everything's revolving around you, Mr. Special. Let's make sure to, pleasantly deal with it. How do you say that? Whatever you say, you know what I mean. Just
No, I get it.
I keep wanting to say the S word, but you know, yeah, that's like if you're not a fan of that kind of stuff and don't want to be patronized in that way, then like I get it. But I don't think it has anything to do with bespoke characters versus like custom.
Like I look at Gordon Freeman is an example of a silent protagonist who is also set in. You don't get to create him. You don't get to mess with him.
Yeah, he's sort of the opposite effect.
Yeah.
He's a character that is he has a look, he has a name. You don't get to pick any qualities about him. There's nothing iconic about Gordon Freeman except he fights with a crowbar.
Except that he's Gordon Freeman. I mean, he is iconic, but you're right.
Freeman, and he does science, which is pushing a thing down a path into a thing. And you know, he got a PhD in pushing the cart into the laser.
I actually think that's another subject, maybe for a different show. But like, what science is very poorly represented in video games. You know, even Final Fantasy is like, I did an experiment and made Sephiroth. Like, that's not experimentation. That's just like, that's not science. That's just like creating.
Yeah, but I guess what I was saying with the Gordon Freeman thing, I prefer I like the Gordon Freeman method. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but I like that from a storytelling perspective, and I don't know why. It may just be a thing of its time, and that's when I really glommed onto it.
It is kitsch. Like it is a.
I just love the idea. It never says anything. The world's happening around him. I act within it, but no one's going to hear me say shit. There's something about that I like. Like, John, you had a name. What'd you say? Jambalaya Jones?
Jambalaya Smith.
Yeah. This is what I should have named my Envoy character because he looks like Jambalaya Smith.
The Jambalaya Smith coming to town.
I mean, look at that forehead. That looks like something you could eat.
And, you know, Daniel, like we said, is in the chat, and he said, but if Final Fantasy VII had a creator for Cloud instead, the game wouldn't be as iconic. They wouldn't do it because they wanted to tell a story about that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also wouldn't be as iconic if everybody was made of flowers for some reason. But like they didn't do that because it wouldn't make sense for the story. Like
in the original game, though, you could rename all the characters.
That's true.
So technically, Cloud could have been a Beau. Like you just could have said, "Hey, it's Beau Strife."
It's a little bit of you had some creative control, but it's not like a story.
It's not like a character creator, but like it is like a. It's not like they ignored it completely.
The point of it is that you have to choose based on what you're doing, and then again, there are outliers where, but you'll also notice for these outliers, usually freedom gets stripped away from you to some degree to make the outliers work. So I think Beau actually nailed the best example in V, because I would argue that Cyberpunk 2077 is very much a character-focused story with a created character, but you don't get to name them, and you have very limited options on how they sound. So you have very limited options on the performance. And in terms of dialogue choices, it's obviously not as robust as like, you know, Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
So the more restricted they get, the more they can build up that character and make that character unique. But that's an exception. Again, even Commander Shepard is an exception. We say Commander Shepard, that means different things to different people, but they're all called Commander Shepard.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about V, the thing about Cyberpunk, for a game that gives you like multiple genital sliders, they sure don't show you very much, you know? Like you get seen, but not that often. Like it is kind of a
use it like
you get like you do use sure
you're like,
you use it.
Finally a payoff. I designed the perfect genital and I'm getting payoff because it's being used in the scene or something.
Sure,
like that.
And even then, it's only vaguely like you assume it's being used in one of your stupid.
Yeah, you never
scenes.
get the payout. You never like, oh man, my creation, it's getting its moment. You know.
Yeah, look how I'm so glad I made his sack 2 inch longer than it needed.
Look at my genitals being properly used in this cutscene.
Yeah. It's an interesting point, and also it's important to note here, Daniel McDonald, also in our chat, who was the one that sent the message, one of the most generous people in our community, and I wanted to thank him for that.
Yeah, it was an awesome, and yes, I'm being intense because we're debating, and that's what you do, because it's my job to crush you into slimy paste. But much love to you too, Daniel. Thank you so much for the question. And I think it had I think it was a really good discussion, because it is interesting, and it is interesting from the perspective of, if you're going to tell a story, you know, arbitrarily throwing a character creator on there might not serve your game, because I do think there are some points there. If you want to tell a compelling character piece, you probably don't want to give the option to create Jambalaya Smith.
Right.
Yeah, I think the next thing they need to do to make character creators more robust is to give like idle animations to genitals so that they have more of a unique personality along with the rest. Like some are droopy, some are perky, you know.
I think some
Can I
were.
choose
really just like,
can I
here it
choose
is.
a perk of occasionally suddenly aroused?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like there's you get a
Like an
perk.
awkward
Yeah.
boner perk. Like it's just
like genitals have personalities too. Like you
yeah,
can't.
you never know. when
Everyone's
it's
got
gonna
the
strike.
same one, you know. It's like here's a genital A and genital B and genital C. Well, what about perky? What about
It's like when you go to the funeral in the game and you're at that bar and they ask you to get up and say a few words. It would be one of the options is, accidental boner, don't want to stand up.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I can't. Yeah, it
can't
would be
get
in
up.
your little dialogue tree. It would be like a feature. It would say accidental boner. And it would
Another
be like, sorry, can somebody else go before me?
Yeah.
Another big thing that they did talk about in Cyberpunk, but they didn't give your character the option of, is like Mr. Stud is like a really big brand in Cyberpunk, where you know how you can swap anything out. Well, you can get cyberware installed on your crotch and have a detachable penis or vagina, like as you need.
Yeah, as needed.
You know,
You know?
like if you just like, I'm not happy with my penis, I will get a synth penis. You can do that.
SP. It's the SP.
Synth penis.
Yeah. The game.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure what I was gonna say, so I just kinda,
That's how Mario says
but
it.
yes.
You really need to isolate that. I don't know why that was the funniest sounding thing I've ever heard. Synth penis.
Synth penis. That was amazing.
All right. Anyways, I said what I had to say. I'm done.
That's it for
Stop
those.
talking about genitals.
That's it for all your feedback. Please keep it coming, though. We love it. Again, 10hams.com will get you right up in there. Voices, texts, and more. We'd love to hear more from you. All right, we're going to get out of here. Before we do, a patron message for the following people who joined us. Our brand new Patreon people, Randy and Leety, I think.
Thank you, Randy. And yeah, Leety.
Well,
Thank you,
it's
Leety.
like Leet, like L337, but then there's a he at the end. So I assume that's Lethy or
It's either Leith,
Lethy?
Leet or Lithri.
Or it could be L337 he.
Lithri.
Yeah, it could be literal. I don't know. But either way, they have joined and they now know what it's like to get no ads ever, to get pre-show content every freaking episode, and other monthly benefits like video game art that I just sent out. So watch for that.
Nice.
Yeah, go sign up for it now. Oh, and host specials. Forgot to mention that. Beau put one up recently about Final Fantasy. Who knows what's next? I don't actually know. Who's next? Is it me? It might be me.
I think it's probably your turn.
Yeah.
It's you, because John swapped with me. I was supposed to be January.
Oh, that's right.
So he did January, and I swapped for February, so it's you, and then it's back to me. So I better start working on my April show.
Yeah, get on that April business now. But yeah, I'll have something coming to you soon. It's a lot of fun doing those. So sign up today. Get it all now at patreon.com/core show. Everything else is at frogpants.com/core, except for Grandma and her recap of the games we played this week. Grandma, take it away.
Well, one of them played a game. Everybody else just played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But if you didn't remember that, well, you missed about 50% of the show. Scott, on the other hand, played ZEPHON.
Yeah.
That was the 4X game
Very
called
good game.
ZEPHON.
Should play it. It's really good.
He also played 2 Point Museum, and he talked about Jackbox Survey Scramble. And Beau casually mentioned Magic Arena Aether Drift.
Nice. Aether Drift.
Casually.
Yeah. Ask your doctor if Aether Drift is right for
By the
you.
way, I guess maybe next week I'll have a bit more to say, because I'm going to try and play it. But I did actually play a couple hours of Pirate Yakuza, but
Oh,
not enough to talk about.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, next week we may have more of that then. We'll see how it goes. Excellent. Thanks, everybody, for watching, for listening, for being here, for hanging out with us. And if you want to be here live, we do this at, when's the time change and what does that do to us?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be
Shit.
next week. I'm able to just adjust and just go when you guys go, or if we feel it's better to push, we'll talk about
Is
it.
it usually, does it mean a later? Because I can't do it earlier, but I could definitely do an hour later if I had to. It would be fine. Earlier,
If we were doing the same time,
because it's different than our old 5
I don't remember. I got to think about it because my time doesn't
Yeah.
change.
Oh, yours stays. We're leaping forward, so yours stays at 11, or sorry, noon. Ours would then be 1, so it is an hour later for us. Yeah, that actually worked for me, but it's up to you guys. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys want to do that, that's fine. It gives me more time to eat before the show, but
yeah, and I can have some more prep time.
Good with whatever.
I rush pretty fast to get things going right after TMS. This will give me a little buffer, so it might work.
Well, let's plan on doing that. So if you're doing the time change, the show will be on an hour later, and if you're like Arizona, and you don't hold with any of that, it'll be the same time.
That's right. Smoke that.
Don't hold with it.
I don't hold with it, bub. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens. Anyway,
don't hold with it. Damn it.
There you go. That's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Frog Pants. The F is for fun. The R is for right on. The OG is for, oh geez, that was good. And then pants.